Good day to you all, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for tuning in today to Sim Broadcast for the return of the New Dimension Racing GT2 Challenge. After a 3-year hiatus 3 years ago in 2021, Joe Holmes was the champion. Chad Esports were the team's champs. We won't see them again today, though they were just Yes Motorsports. I'm Travis Mehlinger for Sim Broadcast, joined today by Eoin Harmon. Eoin, welcome in. This, I think, is going to be a lot of fun.
Thank you very much, Travis. Much appreciated. Yeah, it is an emotional day. The GT2s are back. I will not be participating this year as I will be committing full time to the broadcast. So it's a very, very special occasion. And I can't wait to see how we get on for the 2024 campaign.
Same here. I recall that the last round of the 2021 season, you're in the box now, but then you rose from 37th on the grid to 29th. Is that right?
Correct. Yeah, I was 30th on the road, but I gained one spot after a penalty was dished out. So yeah, that was one of my cleaner rounds, I have to admit. I was pretty proud of myself.
Perhaps we'll mention later how that happened, the penalty that transpired. I'm sure a few viewers recall what transpired that elevated Eoin one more position at the end of that race. Today, we are at the Aston North Reverse Circuit, a tricky hairpin out of this short pit lane through what is affectionately called the Eau Rouge Complex. I don't think anybody ever refers to it as properly as Eau Rouge or Eoin, but we forgive them. And then around the very fast back middle part of the circuit, through these winding corners to another hairpin at turn 16. The hairpins coming back around to the pit complex, and then the short start finish line with the bend to the right as they approach the first corner once more. We will have qualifying in just a few minutes. Cars should be lining up shortly. 20 minutes of qualifying starting in just a few minutes, followed by a 1-hour race at 1600 hours UTC. Eoin, we have a full grid today, 38 drivers, several failed to pre-qualify. So a lot of competition in qualifying to get near the front, and then a very, very full grid for a tricky start.
Yeah, pre-qualifying really brought out the best in a lot of drivers, and hopefully those who have not made it into the classified grid will try again in 2 weeks' time. I remember, 3 years ago now, pre-qualifying had a absolutely whopper 68 entries, all trying to get onto that first grid. So that was absolutely insane. And a little bit less this time, but I still believe we've got a lot of drivers raring to go. If they didn't make it today, then they'll definitely try again in 2 weeks.
Yes, indeed. Lots of drivers on this grid, and the best talent in Live for Speed. And I think one or two drivers who have been out for a long sabbatical and returning today. We'll make note of them in a few minutes. There you can see the schedule on the screen today. Obviously, Sunday the 4th of February in just about half an hour. We will kick off here for round 1 at Aston North Reversed. 2 weeks' time, we will be at Rockingham International R07, the very long configuration at Rockingham, followed by a round at Kyoto GP Long on March 3rd, and then we will round out the season at West Hill International Reversed on Sunday, the 17th of March. My son's birthday. How about that? Happy birthday to him. I'm sure he cares
St. Patrick's Day as well. That's what got me perked up and noticing, so I'm going to have to be there. By
you
default,
will have
need
to
a little bit of Irish on our patron saint's day. Yes,
indeed. Cars out on track now. I believe I'm looking at Marcelo. Is that no? That is not. Not sure which car I'm looking at. Here we go. First car coming around. That's Marcelo Neva. I did have it right. I doubted myself and I couldn't get his name out. First one out on track. He was pretty quick in the warm-up session, the open practice session before we started qualifying. He will look to set a good time on his first lap out. Should have plenty of clean air, plenty of room without running into traffic around the end of the lap. Whilst the driver's behind him, Eoin, there's I was going to say that's a crowd, but it's beginning to look like a throng further back in this line.
Yeah, there is plenty of room around Aston North, so it shouldn't be a case of this lap being the norm. It should be the exception. Just an enormous amount of cars want to get their banker laps in immediately, and I don't blame them, because 20 minutes, it obviously isn't the Grand Touring that we had 3 years ago, where it was a 2-minute plus lap time. You really cannot take these 20 minutes for granted whatsoever.
You really cannot. already a little bit of overtaking on the warm-up lap as Marcello Neva gives way after a Pauli Peltogunga send coming into the hairpin. Now negotiating the final corner himself. Now Pauli will take off ahead of him to lead the way in this qualifying session. And now drivers begin their flying laps. We wait to see who sets the benchmark in the early running in this qualifying session.
Yeah, and indeed, yeah, just everyone wants to find their ideal placement on the track to get going. The start-finish straight quite short, so overtaking in the main event proper may be a little bit more difficult. But yeah, I think everybody has agreed on something here now. And we have Neva trying to push as hard as possible here.
Yes, indeed. Neva with a little bit more room ahead and behind him now. I think he gave plenty of room to Pauli just ahead of him. We'll stay with him as he comes through this sweeping bend. The quick flick left-hander to the long right-hander. Oh, the rear of the car wants to just step away as he goes out over the green pavement. You can see Pauli Peltogungas turning in just in the distance, hard on the brakes now. Marcello Neva, as we switch away to a driver who looks like beginning a lap now. That is, I believe that's number 27. I saw on the side of the car. That's
Jeff and Jacob, yeah.
Yep. And now tabbing back through drivers coming through to start the back half of the circuit. That is the number 89, Dominik Balak, Polish driver. Isaac Price, I think a favorite, if not to win, certainly to finish well, coming through start-finish now to begin a flying lap. We should see times trickling in momentarily.
Yeah, Neva's into sector 2 now, heading towards the start-finish line. So let's see how he gets on. Indeed, Isaac fetching livery this year, so I'm impressed, I have to say.
This is a very bright and distinctive car. As we watch Isaac Price come through the left-hander in just a moment, Pauli Peltogungas has Marcello Neva all over the rear bumper of that FXR. One thing we did not show at the very top that we could mention now, 3 different makes of virtual racing car in this series. Pauli Peltogungas driving the FXR all-wheel drive, the bus as people affectionately call it. Behind him, Marcello Neva in the FZR, I think a Porsche-inspired racing car. Call it half Porsche, half half Nissan GTR. That's how it looks to me. And then obviously the XRR, the sequential manual rear-wheel drive XR racing variant.
Yeah, I suppose the main thing is with the series, organisers, they would love to have an even 33% split among each car, but I suppose it's not always possible. So yeah, you can see plenty of XRRs and FZRs, whereas FXR probably a little bit, I suppose, shunned by the majority. But yeah, it's still a capable car on its day, and I hope a few who have picked it can make their opportunities count.
Yes, indeed. An easier car to drive by most accounts. Perhaps giving somewhat to its being known colloquially, that's a difficult word to say, as the bus. While we've been waxing poetic here, Gabber was at the top with a minute 51.98. Just a moment ago, Isaac Price went across the line to take the top spot by just shy of 0.2 of a second, minute 51.8 seconds. Pretty close at the top. Isaac Price first, Gabber second. Marcello Neva there in third. Mentis Belkavicius in fourth. Gabriel Lara rounds out the top 5 right now as we watch the Canadian driver Jared Mead negotiate the first of these 2 final hairpins and into pit lane, while another car behind them comes around either to start or finish a flying lap. Lots of activity on circus now. 31 drivers have set times. 31 drivers of 38 entered today. 38 drivers who made it through pre-qualifying. And there you can see on the timing tower now the mix and match of the different machines. FZR's obviously the preferred car of the top drivers. And then the FXR of Darius Brzezinski there in between, a mess of FZRs and XRRs.
Yeah, so I think everyone will be ready to try again. So if you have timed your lap where you're in the clear, this is the perfect opportunity to push on and really go for it. So personally, I'm watching Botaf, I think, here, the number 46. Yes, that's correct. So yeah, he has a clear track all ahead of him, with Eoin GT2, I think, just warming up his tyres for a go.
Looking at Ivan Slavov now. I believe this is a relatively new driver coming around the first corner now. Nice and clean. Nice wide entry up and over the curb on the inside. A little bit tricky, that curb. You can touch it and upset the car. Not quite as much so as the very tight hairpin coming from the the Grand Prix part of the circuit to the Aston National part of the circuit. But these cars they tend to tip with enough upward momentum, enough of an impulse on one side of the car. So we watch Ivan Slavov now come through this left-hand bend. Nice and smooth entry there. We see some drivers really aggressively flick the car over the curb. Very smooth from him, up and over, and on his way down to this long 180-degree right-hand corner. Good performance from him so far, running 16th position. Meanwhile, no change at the top. Isaac Price still the tip-top provisional pole position, minute 51.8. Though I expect we should see drivers coming around pretty soon to start flying laps, maybe finish flying laps and start challenging these top times.
Yeah, we're nearly halfway through the session, so I'd say you've about definitely 5 chances if you can get them all logged. You definitely have 5 very capable attempts at a hot lap, but I suppose it depends if you're trying to break through. You may not get a clean lap, so it could be 4 attempts if you have to abandon halfway through. So yeah, there's a lot of traffic in the final sector. You can see Jeff and Jacob, Balak and Slavlov all trying to get through as well. So that's very, very tricky. So that could be a case of the abandoned lap for some of these drivers and have to try it all over again.
Watching Gabber now, who has a Yes Motorsports machine in front of him snaking all over the circuit. Gabber, one of the favorites. Looks like Gabber's just warming up tires. This is an outlap, so he is mostly unaffected. Gabber, one of the favorites, perhaps not the favorite. He doesn't get on as well with tin tops as he does with high-speed downforce cars. But now he looks through the final corner. We'll go on board with him now over the curbing on the left. Nice, wide, smooth line over the right side of the circuit. Up and over the green bit of the pavement there. Shorten the track as much as possible. Traffic exiting pit lane. Gabber doesn't mind. Hard on the brakes there on the left curbing. Up and over the curbing on the right. Just touch it before it gets too high. And now on the power. Down the hill. Left over the curbing here. Flick the car to the right. Pray that the rear sticks as he goes all the way out to the edge of the circuit. Here, cut the corner as much as he can on either side. Right, then left. Out to the right side curbing. Back on the pavement. And now Eoin, he's got a moment to breathe. Hard on the throttle, nice and easy to the right side of the circuit, slowly down the hill, and he'll put the car just a little bit over to the right side. Nice smooth entry to the left, and now hard right-hander, maximum downforce, maximum grips.
Have to interrupt, I beg your pardon. Jari Katila flipped
no worries.
Into turns 6 and 7 there, and he has yet to be able to pull over and try again. That's a heavy crash on his own, I'm afraid.
Yeah, there's a semi-hardcore, is what they call it, qualifying rules, where you can tell a pit when you're in pit lane, but not from the circuit. So I think Gary will probably be asked to end his session prematurely. Nice of him to get out of the way, but unfortunately it does contravene the rules. So I think that will be the end of his participation in qualifying. We'll pick up Gabber once again. This tricky curb that I mentioned a little bit earlier, if you get too much of that, you can easily pick up the right side of the car, tip it over if you're carrying enough momentum around the corner. Now hard on the brakes. First of these slow hairpins, 180 degrees left. Level hands, a little bit tricky with the rear of the car wanting to get away, but Gabber, master of using the power to steer the car. A little bit wide of the entry here. Nice power on the exit though. On to the left side curbing, and now nice smooth line all the way down to the start finish and under. We wait to see if he improves, and he does. I believe he does improve.
Yes.
He does improve to the tip top. P1 provisionally for Gabber.
Isaac has spotted this, and he's responding by rejoining the circuit, and he'll have to pull out a super lap. It'll take about 3 minutes to prepare his out lap and then the hot lap itself combined. So we'll stick with Gabor for the moment, see if he can carry on this stellar form, taking pole position away from one of the title contenders 3 years ago.
We should mention, you can see his name there in the bottom right with the number 1 next to it. Just above that, you see the Twitch logo with the red dot on it, Citus Gabor. That means he is streaming live. Supporters streaming live on Twitch. So if you want to go watch Gabber's point of view and support him, then pull up a second window, put on twitch.tv with Gabber there next to the Sim broadcast feed. Looking at Reg LeBlanc now, another Canadian driver, 2 of them, I believe, in the field today. 3 of them in the field today, I believe. Is Patrick Hall also a Canadian driver? I believe he is.
He is, yes.
Yeah, so 3 Canadians in the field today. Now looking at Mantis Smolkevicius, great performance for him today. A tin top specialist on the brakes, right behind that FXR ahead of him. 4th position provisionally right now. 4th of all 4 of these FZRs at the very top of the order. Obviously, the FZ. Preferred car, the strongest car today.
Yeah, it's proving its worth so far. The FXR, that's really impressive there from Vytautas Lagouskas to get it ahead of Eoin Catilla thus far. Yeah, a lot of drivers will have to give it one last bash, but yeah, it is all going to really show in the race itself how different these cars are, all their pros and cons. Which we can bring up after the qualifying.
We can indeed. I think one thing we could predict, we usually leave this segment to Tom's bold predictions, but one thing I think we can say with some certainty is after the debate before the series commenced about balance of power, the tuning of intake restrictions for the different cars to make them as even as possible, I think that debate is perhaps unsettled, Eoin, owing to the FZs dominating at the very top. Though it could also be said that the very best drivers happened to choose the FZ. Notably, Eoin Catilla in the XRR, 4/10 off the lead. I would expect him to be near the top in equal machinery. So perhaps there's a bit more to this, and we will hear more about it after this round is concluded.
Yeah, we'll have to get some data curated to make sure we know exactly how each vehicle is getting on. Yeah, the debate will proceed, but it does make a small but perhaps impactful change compared to the previous runnings of the championship. And yeah, hopefully it doesn't spoil things too much, and we do get the on-track action and the skills that we all come to see.
Indeed. On board with Isaac Price now, running 2nd position. He's 900ths off the top spot. Fastest time set by Gabber, minute 51.71. Negotiating a little bit of traffic, faithfully diving out of the way a few corners ago. Rear of the car wanted to get away from him, using lots of curbing on the right side there. Tricky braking here while turning. You want to get it as wide as you possibly can, but while the car is turning left and then a bit off balance up and over the curbing, very, very difficult to get through there quickly. More traffic. Very politely moving out of the way. Car in the dirt ahead of him. That's a bright green race car. It could be Patrick Hall. Isaac Price now on the power after the first of these 2 hairpins. On the brakes once more, turning right. Nice late exit, and a nice late apex, and then a wide exit. I believe he'll be starting a flying lap here across the line now. Isaac Price is still at minute 51.8. Hard on the brakes, and we will follow him into the first corner and behind this bright green FZR ahead of him through the Eau Rouge complex and down to the back of the circuit.
Yeah, there's a bit of gravel being kicked up by the car furthest ahead, so it's not the green machine of Maciek. So I couldn't quite pick out who it was. So yeah, there we go. He's pulling over to the left there. That's Nico Pantola. So Pantola kicked up a little bit of gravel. It's no problem for Maciek or Price.
Fastest FXR in the field. Yes, Motorsports driver Vytautas Lagouskas was 5th a moment ago. Somebody jumped up the order. That would have been Eoin Catilla, who got ahead of Gabber by 1/100th of a second. So we have Vytautas Lagouskas very quick in the heavier and generally slightly slower FXR. Great performance for him, while Isaac Price ahead is being held up by Magic. Isaac has caught the race green machine of Magic, now looking to get past him. I think Magic is also on a flying lap, and there's nothing much for Isaac Price to do here, so he probably wants to bail on this lap. He might have just enough time to start one more flyer if he comes in now. Yeah, Isaac, I think, will be a bit frustrated here.
Yeah, that's an abandoned lap beyond all doubt. So yeah, Maciek as just trying to mind his own business. Currently in the where would he be? In the midfield, I think. So somewhere like that. So yeah, that's the case. Yeah, Isaac's in a spot of bother, so he's got to immediately get back out on the circuit.
He does indeed. Gabber was in just ahead of him to stop and take fresh rubber and a qualifying fuel load. As we look at Dan Bala now, coming up and over this curbing on the right to close out this lap. First of the two final hairpins, the left-hander here. Ooh, a little bit wide, nearly rear of the car getting away. No bother though, straight into pit lane. He will have just enough time as well to get around and start another flying lap. Redbot, Jeff and Jacob, well back in 26th position. I think, at least for me, he is best known for his BF1 performances where he was mighty quick in several rounds. And here we see the number 24, that is Elvis Levitas, an older Live for Speed driver making a return today for the GT2 Challenge. Looking down at Carlos Macioides coming around to start the final of these two corners. Keep an eye on this Yes Motorsports machine to see if he ducks into pit lane. He does not. So Carlos Macioides either finishing or beginning a flying lap. Either way, he will not have another one because there's not enough time to get in nor out of the pits. Carlos Macioides coming across the line now over the curbing as he streaks away down to turn one, hard on the brakes. A little bit conservative on the entry. Ooh, and a little bit tricky in the middle of the corner. Already a difficult lap for Carlos.
Yeah, it's probably not quite ideal, but there's still a long way to go. Oh, that's certainly not ideal. Good catch, though. If he wants to carry on, then yeah, this will be his final lap. He won't get another opportunity. The lap would be a bit too long with the mistake like that. I suppose he did recover it as best he could, so we'll check out if there's anything that will prevent him from logging this lap time. Yeah, I think he's determined to make sure it does count.
There are a few quick drivers all very close together coming around to start flying laps now. Marcello Neva just went through. Gabber let the FXR of Vitalis Lagutskas go through, who then bailed out of the laps. I think a bit of a miscommunication there by Gabber and Vitalis Lagutskas. Gabber starting a flying lap now as we watch Carlos Macioides come around the back part of the circuit here. He would like to improve from 10th. But this lap, owing to the drama that we saw early on, I don't know that this will be the one unless he can pull out something amazing in the closing corners. Nico Patola, good performance for him so far, 12th position, and hearing that a car has flipped somewhere.
Yeah, Jeremiah Sanella. Yeah, he's currently 21st for kind runners, and unfortunately, he won't be doing any better than that with an accident in an unusual spot, just the first corner, really.
On his lid, but I believe safely out of the way. Watching Eoin Cantilla has come across the line now. I believe that was the end of a flying lap because he was in. I saw him in just ahead of Gabber, who is coming around on his lap now. So Eoin Cantilla, provisional pole position, minute 51.7 seconds. That is Jared McGreed in 23rd position right now and a 53.59. Looking for some of the quicker drivers to come around. Gabber is on a flying lap right now. He's just done a split 2 of a minute 8 dead. So we see him negotiate these very fast winding corners using all the mechanical grip and the downforce that this car has to offer. Tricky braking here, rear of the car wanting to get away, using it to slow down like you would a go-kart, 4-wheel drift on the brakes. Very tidy through the tight right-hander out to the edge of the circuit. 2 more corners to go, using all the road on the way in here. You can see the front wheels working, using the rear of the car to steer. A little bit conservative on the exit there, a little bit conservative on the entry here. Doesn't use all of the road to help the car turn in, but nice and smooth on the power. Beautiful exit. We'll wait to see if Gabber can improve and retake this top position from Eoin Cantilla. He can!
Yes.
51.67, straight to the top for Gabber, 300s clear of Eoin. How about that, Owen?
Here comes Isaac, though. It's not time to celebrate from just yet. It's a 151.66. Oh, he's nicked it at the very end. That's exceptional.
Exceptional indeed. Top 3 come across the line within seconds of one another. Gabber takes the top spot, and just a moment later, Isaac Price, by 1/100th of a second, snatches pole position. fantastic qualifying. All that we could have expected from the prelude to the first round. Great performance by everyone at the very top of the order.
Yeah, full compliments. We're going to start as we means to go on here, Travis. This is a wonderful, wonderful start to proceedings.
Yes, indeed. Waiting for a few cars to come around and finish their laps. I believe the last car has already come across. So there we go. We are finished. That is Jeremy Greed in the background that we're watching right now negotiate these corners. Isaac Price at the very top at the last gasp snatches pole position away from Gabber. Minute 51.66, 1/100th of a second behind. 51.67 is Gabber. Yonik Attila was pole sitter for 10 seconds, perhaps, with a mighty lap of 51.7. Marcello Neva, 51.92 in fourth position. And Menta Smokey Vicious rounds out of the top five there with a 52.08. The top three separated by only 0.04 of a second and only 0.4 all the way down to fifth, sixth position. This should be a thriller, Owen.
Yeah, I'm really excited now. The build-up has certainly been gearing up for this moment, and yeah, it has paid off for the qualifying. Yeah, highly competitive grid. The top 10 could all realistically challenge for big points. Then, of course, drivers that we see on the right-hand column there, Peltakangas in 11th, Pantola 13th, Dan Bala 16th, El Hanouni 19th, and a lot of competitive names there where anything could happen. And indeed, on page 2, yeah, again, the quality has been on show. Everyone really brought their A game today.
Yeah, lots of drivers even further down the order. Jeremias Zanella, a quick driver. Patrick Hall, also pretty quick himself. Not where they would like to be in qualifying, but we know that they bring their best to the race. So, as you said, wide open, lots of talent at the top. We expect a very good show from the drivers at the point, but I think there's perhaps we could pick a few to bet on for the highest climber in this race. Some very, very high quality drivers further down the order should put on a great performance for us during the race. On the topic of highest climber and the points, we can talk a little bit how the points run for this championship. There'll be 100 points for the winner, 90 for second place, 80 for third place, and then separated with somewhat less of a difference between them as we go from fourth place on down. There are points on offer for the highest climber, the driver who starts the lowest and gains the most positions. Not necessarily the lowest, but the driver who gains the most positions will be awarded 2 points. And then pole position, Isaac Price, that does yield him 1 bonus point. So Isaac Price, before the race has even begun, is leading this championship, owing to his 1 point for pole position. There you can see the event format. We've just concluded qualifying here at the Aston Autodrome North Reverse Circuit. Qualifying was 20 minutes, concluded a few moments ago, and we will begin the race in about 5 minutes' time, Owen.
Yeah, we'll just have the driver briefing and preparing the grid. Sean Lee, of course, not confirmed. Well, he is going to start from pit lane. Yeah, I don't think he had to set a time to confirm his participation. So yeah, Sean Lee, the one name that wasn't on our list, but he will be taking part, but from pit lane.
We welcome Sean back after a long sabbatical. He was well, we can leave. We'll come back to this in a moment, but he is from Singapore. Had to perform his compulsory military service. Kept in contact with the community. Talked with Sean fairly often while he was away. He contributed a lot of work to the excellent layouts we see in other series. So Sean unable to drive owing to his commitments, but we do welcome him back. I alluded a moment ago to Sean and to you, Owen. You were elevated to a 29th place finish in the last event, the last race run in the 2021 GT2 Challenge. How did that come to pass, Owen?
Essentially, Sean Lee had 4 punctures, 1 on each tire, and he tried to limp to the very end, got to the final chicane at Grand National, spun it in front of our race leaders. Isaac actually gave him a big whack, unable to avoid him. wasn't it Leguskas was able to go on 2 wheels to miss him and managed to secure his victory. But it was an absolutely bizarre ending, and it did result in a heavy sanction from the NDR race control. But I was nowhere near the incident. I just only heard through word of mouth what was going on, and I was nowhere near it. So yeah, I just got my 30th place on the road and got promoted 1 place. So there you go.
Yeah, I mentioned this not to make fun of Sean, but mostly to welcome him back and also to test your memory because you recalled that in extraordinary detail and I had not. So thank you for that. Hopefully we have as much drama today, but perhaps without as much, without the shenanigans. We'll put it that way. In any case, sorry for giving you a hard time, Sean. I know we can all have a laugh about it, and we do welcome you back. We wish you good luck today in the race. Starting from pit lane will be tricky, but those points are on offer for highest climber. So hopefully, we'll see a good show from Sean. Maybe he can snatch a couple bonus points on his way up from far down in the order. Driver's briefing is going on now. We've got about 3 minutes on the clock until cars are supposed to roll off for the start. We will take a breather for just a moment, and then we will be right back as we get the grid set for round 1 of the 2024 New Dimension Racing GT2 Challenge. We'll be right back. Thank you all for tuning in to simbroadcast.tv. Today, round 1 of the 2024 New Dimension Racing GT2 Challenge, joined once again by Eoin Harmon. Drivers starting to ready up in the background. There you can see the schedule on the screen. Round 1 today at Aston North Reversed. 2 weeks' time, we will be at Rockingham International, and then set apart 2 weeks again after round 2. We will have rounds 3 and 4 at Kyoto Ring GP Long Circuit, followed by the season finale at the West Hill International Reverse Circuit. Eoin, we could talk once again about the cars, the GT2 cars in Live for Speed, how they're set up while we wait for everybody to ready in the background. And then I think after that we'll be prepared to introduce the grid and roll off for racing.
Yeah, let's absolutely talk about them. And the intel I got from the aforementioned Sean, each driver has had their thoughts on each car, and we should be looking at the FZR first. Seems like the quicker qualifying car, but it will have to do a stop for tires at some stage, but they're probably hoping for the VSC deployment to occur. That will give them the extra time to get everything set up. The XRR if they're set up with the R2 compound, they won't make full distance. The tires won't last that long, so you have to go very gentle on them. So you may want to go for a more harder tire, just to make sure you get to the end. But it seems like a lot of drivers will think of something strategic, and then the FXR will have the perhaps benefit of it being quicker on the opening laps and difficult to pass. So yeah, that's where those FXR drivers need to be on the ball, get a good start, and try and gain as many places they can with that advantage.
Yes, indeed. And in order to make these cars even for them to perform as closely as possible, all three of them being somewhat different in virtual construction and performance, the FZ GTR, the FZR has a 21% intake restriction, somewhat more for the FXR, 24%, and then a little bit more still for the XRR, 25% intake restriction in order to try to even out the power and the performance of these cars. There on screen, you can see the track configuration today. Aston North reverse, very tricky track, and a little bit trickier this direction, I would say, owing in particular to this turn 15-16 complex, turning left while braking for a very slow, one of the slowest corners in Live for Speed, very slow hairpin before coming around to the two somewhat wider, more open hairpins in 17 and 18 to conclude the lap.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, the turns 5 through 8 should be familiar with everybody who was here in the previous runnings of the championship. It's a very famous part of Aston. But then, of course, yeah, turn 16 is where it cuts off from Grand National. And yeah, the pit lane is also something to consider. It is very, very tight around here. You have to commit to it on the inside of turn 18. Have to brake very hard as if you were on the racing line as normal, but then it is very, very compact. So if there is a VSC or a safety car and then a bunch of drivers all want to pit quickly, then yeah, there will be a frantic battle for the tire changes and to rejoin the track as quickly as possible.
Yeah, I would expect if we get a mid-race VSC or safety car, owing to, as you said, the different tire strategies, the choices that drivers may be forced to make with their equipment, a mid-race safety car, virtual safety car, a mid-race virtual safety car, or safety car forcing a bunch of drivers into pit lane could be a little bit tricky. It is tight. It doesn't fit that many cars, and if 15 or 20 of them are all going in at once, that could be a bit of a challenge. Also, big opportunity for some drivers to make up time. So we'll wait to see what unfolds there. Ideally, we don't see a safety car. We would like to see green flag racing all the way through, but we will admit to enjoying the shakeup that we experience now and then when the race is neutralized. More drivers readying up in the background. On the clock, it is just about time to start. I think they're wrapping up in the background. We should be ready to go in just a moment. You can see there on the screen the different cars. The 2-liter turbo inline 4 in the XRR, lots of power, 490 horsepower, though perhaps somewhat more nimble than the FZR, giving it the slightly higher intake restriction from the officials. The FZ, the rear-wheel drive flat 6 Porsche-inspired machine, and then below that the all-wheel drive 2-liter turbocharged flat 4 in the FXR. A bit of a boat, a bus, as they say, bit easier to drive, harder on tires, lots for drivers to control, lots for drivers to think about. Difficult choices at the beginning of the season, which machinery to choose. But it is about to come off now. All the drivers ready in the background, just waiting for Stuart Baker and Sigitas Sakis to ready up themselves and put everyone on the grid. We are nearly ready to begin the 2024 GT2 Challenge season by NDR New Dimension Racing.
Yeah, here we go now. Just waiting for the game to load. There's a lot of cars up to generate. There we go. Wind speed 14 kilometers per hour. Don't know which direction, but yeah, I just want to spot that because you only have about 3 seconds before the little pop-up on the hood disappears. So yeah, 14-kilometer wind could make a difference.
And once again, we will get this beautiful gridding so we can see all of the cars roll off one by one. to take their 2x2 formation behind Stuart Baker in the safety car. We will once again call attention to this brilliant lights package on top of this safety car done by
Lap
our
underway,
friend
formation
Mo.
lap underway.
Formation lap is beginning. You heard the race control message from Jonathan Palmer there. Cars driving away from their pit lane grid spots now. Beautiful shot here, Eoin, seeing everybody roll away one by one into line.
Yeah, it was always a treat to see the thumbnails of the videos going back to 2021 and see which driver slotted into which position. And there we go, our final car, Sean Lee at the end of the queue. Or sorry, that's Martins who'll be at the back of the queue there, number 97. So yeah,
just a second.
That'll be, yes,
should
it's
see
Julian
Sean
Martins.
Lee.
Yes, so he's at the end of the queue there, ready to go.
Should see Sean Lee pop out of a garage in just a moment to take up his spot at the end of pit lane. Oh, got on our ear that he's actually starting from the back, not from pit lane. So
he's ahead of Martins, but oh goodness, car very, very deep. It's Magic who took Eau Rouge all wrong in the gravel, but he got back out. That's going to cause a lot of harm to his tires, and particularly with the launch being so critical around here. Yeah, that's really going to cause him a lot of anxiety. Yeah, Sean Lee is ahead of Jacob Martins on the track, but he'll have to start in pit lane.
Yeah, looking to the front of the grid now, that is Isaac Price following Stuart Baker. The aggressive tire warming technique with Gabber right there behind him, also warming his tires. Identical machinery on the front row. Isaac Price and Gabber both in FZRs, while all of the cars, the different makes, snake around this undulating, winding part of the circuit behind them. You can see them just popping over the hill there in the background. Great shot looking back through the hills and dales of this Aston Grand Prix, Aston North circuit. One thing we should mention about Magic is that if he lost spots, and I believe he did, when he went off there at Eau Rouge, he won't be allowed to retake them. So that will confuse the order ahead of and behind him, where drivers may have expected to be on one side of the grid. Now they're going to be on the opposite because he will not be allowed to retake his original starting position. He has to join the grid from where he came back on the circuit. So that complicates things a little bit, and you can see the confusion in the background now as drivers try to shuffle into order. The first 10 or 12 rows are neatly aligned. Even further back as we come through this hairpin now, Stuart Baker is off into pit lane. Eoin, bring him across the line. Kick the season off for us.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. Here we go. From pole position on the left-hand side of your screen, it's Isaac Price. Gabor Gior on his right. We are Green Flag Racing for GT2 Challenge, and there's the launch. Yanni Catilla giving Isaac something to think about. He's got to be careful though. Smalkovicius and Neva side by side as well. Watching now into turn one they go. Got to keep it clean. And yes, Yanni Catilla maybe just a little bit slow on exit, missing out on his chance to go into second. And in the background, it looks reasonably good for everyone else. And yeah, Sean Lee is actually on circuit, so he doesn't have to start from pit lane now into Eau Rouge. Bit of a jam. It looks okay. Great driving to start with, but Price gaining a few hundredths now. And on the inside, it's Yanni Catilla for second place. He's found the extra horsepower in the slipstream and takes second place.
Great start from all of our drivers. A few went 2x2 through the Eau Rouge complex, but every single one of these 38 drivers through cleanly. Isaac Price now a few car lengths ahead in the lead. Gabber and Yoni fighting it out. Yoni had this done going into that fast right-hand sweeping corner, but now Gabber fighting back on the inside here, and he will have the position. But Tadeusz Lagutskas now harassing Yoni. Yoni better on the power. Gabber a little bit wide. These two will go side by side all the way around this part of the circuit. Now Yoni is able to clear Gabber, but this gives Isaac Price at the front a 1 second lead, nearly 1.5 seconds. These two fighting side by side have let Isaac put his head down, get away, and now he has a margin to work with in the lead of this race.
Yeah, that may be the initiative Isaac needs to push on and try and win the title he was unable to secure 3 years ago. David Gotch there getting a bit of a door-to-door battle. Fabio Silva there trying to get another launch too, or Federico Silva, excuse me. Yeah, he's trying to go on the outside here in his FXR, but it seems like it's blocked. And there we go. Isaac leads the first lap.
Yeah, aggressive move there by Gabriel Lara to swipe 2 positions in 1 corner. A little bit argy-bargy, a little bit of bumping and running, but he's through cleanly. Everyone still on circuit, moving unabated. A bit of a weave there from Gabriel. Don't know if he's listening or if that was a coincidence. But now we look at Vitalis Lagutskas there in 2nd position, fighting with Eoin Catilla. Not fighting, the job is done. Nice move down the hill and into Eau Rouge, up and over the top. Though I think with the slipstream and a little bit of more power here in the XRR, a little bit slippery. That the car ahead, the FXR, not handling as well. Eoin Catilla should be through. Looking further back, Pali Peltagangas fighting for, that was 8th or 9th position. 9th position with Darius Vazinskas through to get 8th. And now Eoin with Vitalis Lagutskas all over him, just watching Isaac Price streak away in the lead. Late move, hard on the brakes. The FXR can do that. Side-by-side racing once more. Ooh, Eoin, a little too eager on the power, but I think he hasn't quite, just unable to keep his nose in and prevent Vitalis Lagutskas from taking the position. Vitalis Lagutskas through into 2nd.
Yeah, it's all happening here now on board with Smelkovicius, representing Born to Race, of course. Just trying to find any opportunity here to put Gabor down another place, having started on the front row. But yeah, these top 5 drivers, the 2nd through 5th, all very evenly matched, but they have to find some way of catching up to Price. We have a battle now heading into the 3rd to last. It's Verzinskas and Lavrikov, and with indeed Pali Peltagangas trying to find a gap as they continue to compete. But there we go. It's Verzinskas with the slender advantage.
Good move by Lavrikov to get the car stopped. 4-wheel drive under braking, giving him a bit of an advantage there. But while all this is going on, Isaac Price has cleared off to a 2.5-second lead on just the 3rd lap of this 45-lap race. So 3 different makes in the top 3, but Vitalis Lagutskas, Eoin Catilla, Gaber all fighting one another in the opening laps, has given Isaac Price all the space he needs to put his head down, set quick laps, and build that lead. For the back, looking at Ayub Elanuni. Nope, ahead to Botev, who is going ahead of Carlos Machiotis now. Carlos Machiotis tucks in behind. Borislav Botev neatly through. Had a little bit of trouble with his audio in the open practice session. He and I chatted very briefly. Hard to call it a chat. I went in, shouted at him to test his audio, and then came back over here to the commentary box. Carlos Machiotis now side by side with Jeremias Sinella. A little bit conservative on the power there, but avoiding contact. Carlos Machiotis gives out the position. Jeremias Sinella goes off in pursuit of the cars ahead of him. And now looking at this is a gaggle, Owen, of green, red, black, and white. 6, 7 cars all running line astern through this very tricky undulating part of the circuit. Great racing up and down the order, and a fight for 22nd position.
Yeah, it's definitely a difficult spot if you're Patrick Hall with Jeff and Jacob right on your tail. Zdenek Sagash, of course, very quick as well. But it's going to be an attack here for that would be number 90. Jakub Liznerski getting very close as well. Yeah, that was close, but thankfully everyone kept it clean. And yeah, the race remains in full flow heading into Isaac's lap 4 now. But Lagutskas fastest lap, so that's a signal to Price that he's got to keep going.
Vitalis will have to be a little bit careful with these tires because they do tend to overheat at both ends of the car in the FXR. Looking at Carlos Machiotis fighting for positions once again. Carlos perhaps a bit frustrated because he is going backward and not forward. Cars getting a little bit strung out up and down the order. This one of the closer fights that we're watching right now. You can see the line of cars all the way back. A few cars touching the grass, kicking up the dirt in the background. Everyone cutting that curbing as much as they possibly can to open it up, carry the speed as much as possible. The leaders now set a little bit apart from one another, a few tenths here and there, a second or so each. Close racing here further down the order though. Carlos Machiotis has Gabriel Lara now sniffing his bumper while trying to keep up with the cars ahead of him.
Oh, that was
took
too
the
late
position
on the
ahead of him.
brakes. At least he has the traction out of the corner, but no doubt about it, Lara will have spotted that, and he'll try and exploit that. Oh, he's going to cut the gravel trap. Thankfully, the little bollards were no concern to him. They just booted out of the way. So that was the opportunity to put Carolus off, but he's messed up himself.
Yeah, now that Gabriel Lara going over the gravel there, that actually slowed him down more than cutting the course might have sped him up. And now this is a conga line forming behind him. Now he is right behind Carlos Macioides, struggling with that XRR. But Federico Silva, Dan Bala, and even more cars
tag
lining up the
just
background.
behind. Jared Mead has been spun. Sean Lee was kind of trying to find a gap. Unfortunately, it was a spin. A 360 spin for Jared Mead, or maybe 270 degree. He has to recover very quickly. He's way down the order now, and that would be Julio Martins getting by as well. So they're good climbs up the order for those drivers who were at the back, Sean Lee and Julio Martins.
Yeah, Sean Lee, a great race for him so far, in 28th position, fighting Slavov to take 27th. Job done through the first corner. Nice and early on the power. Very difficult to do in these cars, even with the intake restriction for drivers like Sean Lee, because he drives with the mouse. Throttle on or off. He doesn't have the benefit of, a pedal. He can configure a little bit of a delay in the power, but it just means he gets less power when he might actually want it. But Sean Lee now in the slipstream of a car in front of him, not far behind this fight right here, where Lavrikov gives up 10th position.
Oh, Dan Bala, sorry to interrupt here, Travis. Dan Bala has come across the battle with Motogesis and Lara, and indeed Silva is there as well. Federico Silva, probably the big loser out of this one, as Bala performed a beautiful lunge and has made that position count into turn 8, but these four will just proceed harder and harder, trying to make every advantage count.
Nearly 3 wide coming into the left-hand bend here. Dan Bala loses a little bit of time to Carlos Macioides, but Carlos Macioides is sideways. That allows Gabriel Lara to get a bit of a gap. Carolus, this car a handful. Dan Bala doesn't look much more comfortable. Federico Silva sideways on the brakes, just touches the rear quarter panel of Dan Bala, and you could have a picnic on top of these 3 cars. Great racing up and down the order, more than we can keep up with. Federico Silva late on the brakes, lunge a little bit deep on the brakes, but gets the job done. Dan Bala very kindly out of the way when Federico Silva went a little bit deep. And now, who is that behind? That is Levinas behind them now. This line getting a little bit longer, with Jenik Sagash having caught up with this pack as well. Up
Jeremiah
ahead of them, Zanella.
That was close there, Travis. Botef putting in the defense. This is crucial positioning, of course. The opportunity to be in the top 10 for these drivers. It's just one bit of a shock in front of them, and they'll be in the top 10. Yeah, these two now battling hard and fair. Yeah, it would have been absolutely wonderful if that move from Zanella paid off. This time he's got a great slipstream. Into 6 and 7 they go. And there you go. Great determination from Zanella. And just behind, Dan Bala wants to repeat the same trick with Mouseman Libietz right behind.
Great racing up and down the order. We mentioned Sean Lee a minute ago, up from the very back, starting at the back of the grid. And while all of this is going on in front of our eyes, Sean Lee is catching this pack. He's now right behind the line, led by Patrick Hall. And just a few seconds up the road are drivers we were just mentioning in this fight. So Sean Lee making up spots right now. I think he is pretty well on for the 2 bonus points for highest climber. So we pick up Patrick Hall, going up and over the curbing there, a little bit wide, but that helps the entry into this corner. Probably want to use more of the curbing on the inside there, but still ahead. Further up the order, Nico Pantola, I think from 14th or 15th position on the grid, is now into 9th. So great performance from him for the Sidus driver, with Pauli Peltocongas there behind. Sorry, Pauli Peltocongas ahead. We're looking back at Pauli Peltocongas to Nico Pantola. Great racing up and down the order. We'll take a moment to reset it. Isaac Price at the top, just a couple seconds clear of Vitalis Lagutskas. Yoni Katila in the XRR in third position. FZR, FXR, XRR lead the race. Gabber in fourth in the FZR, followed by Mantis Malkovicius, Marcelo Neva, Darius Brzezinskis, Paolo Peltokongas, and Nico Bontola, who we were just looking at. As we pick up this fight into the first corner, Dan Bala looking for 16th position.
Yeah, this is equal machinery for these two drivers. It has been just raging on and on. Of course, Gabriel Lara has broken free of them, so that's one less opportunity for a bit of mayhem. But yeah, no doubt about it, these two, they'll know each other quite well. They'll go side by side into six, who will figure out the turn-in point better. Yeah, in fairness to Bally, he has to back off, but he can counter-attack. He'll gain the inside line. 4 wheels ahead, so yeah, that has to be a yield here for Carlos. Let's see what he does if he wants to try and hang it on the outside, but watch out for Silva on all-wheel drive power. And yes, that should be the pass for Silva.
Brilliant driving by Dan Bala to throw the dummy there and then position the car perfectly into the right-hander, the 180-degree corner to defend it. And Carlos Machiotis loses one more position. Going backwards still, we picked him up a couple laps ago in 14th or 15th. Carlos, not the day he hoped for, but we talk to him often after he joins New Dimension Racing sim broadcast events, and he is I think he will be having fun. Great racing for him, even though he's not making up positions. Oh, very deep on the brakes there from Carlos. Just got the car slowed down in time. While we've been watching this, you mentioned a moment ago, Gabriel Lara had broken away from this group. Gabriel Lara has caught the group ahead of him and has just taken Ayub Elanouni for 14th position. He is through now, though Ayub is fighting to hold onto that position now. They will go side by side down the front straight, while Gabriel Lara looks ahead to Nierka. Gabriel Lara from pretty deep in the field, closing in on a top 10, just a few seconds up the road to Jeremias Zanella and Lavrikov in 10th and 11th. Gabriel Lara, job done, ahead of Ayub Elanouni as he comes through the Eau Rouge complex. Nice and tidy, just touches the dirt there on the inside of the corner. No drama, car well under control to the outside of the circuit, and off he goes down the back straightaway for this very fast left-right-hand complex in pursuit of Nierka.
And just in pit lane, we've Mehmet Nuri Koskun. He is perhaps planning a full service here, getting out of the way early. He was down the back anyway. So let's check out. Yeah, I think he's definitely changed tires at least, but certainly a refuel should be on the agenda as well.
That is Tatu Kosonen, Finnish driver now that we were looking at as we go ahead once again to Levitas. That is, oh man, that is Carlos Machiotis just ahead of him at the rear of the car, not working well for him at all. Carlos clearly unhappy with his machinery. So we go back now to Ivan Slavov here in the middle of an XRR sandwich. Nope, that's an FZR behind me, my mistake. But these three cars running very close together. Very difficult to run this close around this part of the circuit because the road undulates so much. You're up and down these hills, and it's difficult to spot the entry or exit for a corner. And even more so...
Oh. Yeah, Jared and Julio Martins have collided. Martins now facing the wrong way. The very quick section of the circuit. Maciek and Velinov also in trouble. So Martins out of the race. He's spectated. I'm not sure that will go down particularly well.
Yeah, it won't. Yeah, he hearing that he rejoined from the grass and hit Jared. Jared, an innocent bystander there, would pick up Carlos in the middle of yet another fight. I don't think Carlos has done a single lap without someone on the inside or the outside. And looks like this could become 3 wide in the first corner. Hearing that not Federico Silva, the other driver involved in the incident with Jared Mead, spectated, so that will likely earn a penalty, though it does prevent us from neutralizing the race. Carlos Machiotis able to hold this position while they look to go 3 wide. They think better of it, but still 2 wide behind them into Eau Rouge. And somehow in the middle, going up the hill, those cars ended up slotted in behind one another instead of fully side by side, though David Gage out and over the grass. No, not David Gage, the car behind him. That was Levitas out and over the grass behind him. And Carlos Machiotis now a moment to breathe, though perhaps not for long.
Now, Reg LeBlanc trying to make up a bit of time on behalf of the Angry Angus racing team with Jared Mead's trouble there. So that's a nice pass. And he's beaten Koskinen to 29th. Pass for Botev potentially. Jeremiah Sanella. Yeah, so Botev. Yeah, I think that's yeah, that is certainly a pass on Zanella. So yeah, well done to Botev in this crucial battle for 11th. Waiting to see if anything could open the opportunity for them to get into the top 10.
Yeah, I mentioned helping Borislav with his audio a few minutes ago. I have in past events said that he is a newcomer to New Dimension Racing events, and that's not really true. That was a I have to bow to that mistake. He's been in Live for Speed for some time and participating in New Dimension Racing events, and today having quite a good performance. He's now right there behind Jeremiah Zanella. It looked like Zanella had the job done, and now Botev going to challenge him into turn 1. Yields 11th, looking to gain it back, though Jeremiah Zanella a little bit braver on the brakes, locks up on the way in. If Borislav is good on the power, might be able to take this position into Eau Rouge, but Jeremiah Zanella defends the position very nicely. Up and over the hill, over top of our camera, and off they go. Borislav will have to do this with the slipstream going down to the back of the circuit.
Yeah, indeed. So yeah, that'll carry on. How about another battle, Lara on Nierka? This should be a clean pass. Lara has certainly made that count. P13 for him. Nierka Savisis had no chance and a wide. So a little bit too much enthusiasm there. Oh, goodness me. Oh, big collision. And into the turn 7 gravel trap, Matajutis and Elvis Libitis has been always trapped. Is he completely stuck here, Travis?
I believe he is. Careless got away, but Elvis Libitis is not going anywhere. He is properly beached. That will be at least a VSC, though they might be able to get the rescue car out there without neutralizing the race. We will keep an eye on this and see. Yeah, 2 cars trying to occupy the space of 1. I think Elvis Libitis thought he was
virtual
clear
safety
of
card.
careless.
5, 4,
and there's
3,
the call.
2, 1. VSC.
This goes back to what I beg your pardon, Travis said. This goes back to the pre-race build-up. Zedors want to take this pit stop opportunity under VSC, and Nico Pantola on the ball has been in the perfect position on track to get into the pits.
Yeah, I believe I just missed it. I picked up the leaders. I believe Vitalis Lagutskas was out of the pits. I think he was in and out. That's him right there behind Isaac Price. They've not been in, so I happened to switch to them when they were on the inside of the track, just passing the pit exit.
Green flag.
I interpreted that as having exited pit lane, but they have not. The race continues. Everybody back underway. But Vitalis Lagutskas, while we've been following this racing further back in the order, Owen, Vitalis Lagutskas is within 2 seconds of Isaac Price. This FXR working very well for him. Now challenging for the race lead.
Yeah, so Lagutskas, he's caught up to Isaac so impressively here, and the SC may help with the tyre management aspect. You can take the tyres a little bit longer. So yeah, this is an extraordinary contest here with Lagutskas. Having started P6, he's risen all the way to P2.
Yes, he has. And Nico Patola behind them, one of the drivers who went in to take tires and fuel while the race was neutralized under VSC. Nico gave up, I think, 5 or 6 positions. He was up around P10, now down to 16th. But with fresh rubber and a load of fuel, it will take him to the end of the race. So we will keep an eye on Nico to see how well he can perform while the drivers ahead of him run on aging equipment. Meanwhile, Vitalis Lagutskas right there under the rear bumper of Isaac Price, and Yoni Katila not far behind them.
Yeah, this is a huge turnaround, so yeah, it seems like the FZR's benefits are wearing down a little bit for Isaac, having been able to exploit everyone else battling away behind him. So yeah, we have 1 car from each, I suppose we're going to call it shape, in contention for the podium position. So that is a delight to see, what we were certainly hoping for.
Yeah, Isaac Price, still a little bit of room there on Vitalis Lagutskas, but Vitalis Lagutskas certainly not going very far. I think the car, the FXR, the all-wheel drive, I think it helps. It works just a little bit better through these really tricky corners with the big elevation changes, the car getting loaded and unloaded as we look back. That is Jeremy Greed in the number 73 fighting for 25th position, and now has it done as he turned. Sorry, that's Jeremy Greed yielding 25th position to Patrick Hall ahead of him. No, that is not Patrick Hall. Slavov. Too many green cars, though, and it's hard to keep up with them all.
Well, Race Green, yeah, they love making a huge impact on our grids. So, yeah, you see a Race Green car in nearly every portion of the track. And in this case, Eoin Slavov has made a gain.
Ayub El Hanouni, who was running up the order, may have been one of the drivers, well, was certainly one of the drivers to stop for tires and fuel, has made his race a bit more challenging by picking up a drive-through penalty, speeding in pit lane. So took the opportunity to get into the pits. And unfortunately, hearing that Jaron Mead has rolled the car, we will pick him up. Oh, this will be a safety car.
Safety car boards and flags. Safety car boards and flags.
So, Isaac Price is approaching the penultimate corner now with Vitalis Lagutskas right behind him. And Nico Patola, sorry, not Nico Patola, Yoni Katila not far behind him. Yeah. And Isaac Price, Vitalis Lagutskas, Yoni Katila.
Scramble to pit lane.
Yes, indeed. All of them coming in. 5th position behind Gabber. That is Mentis Falkevicius. That is Neva behind Darius Verzinskas. Everyone into pit lane, Owen. This will be a scramble. You can see drivers looking for open pit spots without getting in the way of one another. This will be a race off pit lane and out to the lead. Vitalis Lagutskas is away behind Isaac Price. Just misses Botev. Brilliant by Borislav Botev. But Neva is away in the lead of the race. Neva gets it done the pits ahead of Isaac Price.
What a slick play that was. But in the race lead right now, it's Jordan Lavrikov. He stayed out. He didn't want to pit in his no motorsport car. So he refused the opportunity to go in with that cluster, get service. So he wants to lead the race ahead of none other than Jeremiah Sanella.
So we need to see. Lavrikov has just caught the safety car. Stuart Baker coming through the near halfway around the track right now. I thought perhaps Lavrikov had managed to get away around to Stuart Baker, but Stuart is not new to this, nor are the JPs in race control. So Stuart Baker picks up Lavrikov, will not be able to get around quickly to catch the safety car and take advantage of an open pit lane. He will shuffle backward. But some drivers now, Owen, they have tactical decisions. They have choices. They could try to stay out with track position, or they may come in, play conservatively, make sure they have equipment that gets to the end of the race. Who do you think takes a risk here? Would you?
If I was in the race, I would have pitted. I'd want to get it out of the way, try and restart from scratch. But yeah, I know this is a golden opportunity if it pays off for Lavrikov and Zanella, first and second on the circuit right now. And the fact that Price will have to make genuine overtakes after starting on pole. He just had to pull away when everyone else was battling. So now he has to battle with Neva, of course, getting that jump in pit lane. So, yeah, if it was me, Travis, I would have pitted. I wouldn't want to be stuck out with faster drivers behind me and needing to concern my own race. But yeah, I do have faith in Lavrikov. He knows what he's doing.
Well, we guessed that this could happen in the build-up.
That has been spawned by Silva. That was contact during the tyre warm-up phase, and neither driver was alert to what the other was doing. But Silva will be put under the spotlight immediately because he was the one who made contact. But it could have been a case where he was totally innocent. So we'll have to review what happened. That's devastating for Nierka. Not only did he stay out, he doesn't want to give the place back.
Yeah, I think
Balak.
Yeah, I think there's a bit of a there's a bit of a disagreement here over where he was when he rejoined the circuit. So I think the smart thing to do here would be to just wait for the call from race control, because there's no sense in fighting like this while they're in while they're going around under safety car speed. Yeah, now he's just overtaken him. So I hope cooler heads will prevail here, and we don't have another incident like we just saw coming around the final corners. Though there we go. He's been instructed to give the position back. I think that must have been a direct message to him from race control. That is all neatly sorted out now. Well, there we go. I was saying that we had guessed that this could happen in the build up to the race. That
He takes it back again.
Yeah. Yeah, sorry for the excitement there. There's some disagreement in our ears, and Eoin and I trying to figure out what is going on ourselves with this shuffle of positions from Nierka rejoining. I was saying that we guessed a pit lane shuffle with lots of cars could come into play if the race is neutralized, and that did in fact happen. Looked like a NASCAR pit lane. With Marcelo Nevia just getting out ahead of Isaac Price and all of the leaders in the pit lane together. Safety car in at the end of this lap. We will need to see if they got everything sorted out further back. While all this happened, Eoin, Sean Lee. Sean is all the way up to 15th position from 38th, 37th.
Yeah, heaven and earth. Wow, that's unreal. More than half the positions on the order have been gained back from him, so he's plus 23. Absolutely sensational. But yeah, the race control are satisfied now that the debris has been cleaned up after Jared Mead's rollover, that we can get back to racing, and with another 30 laps or so to go, this is far from over, and this is a golden opportunity for Jordan Lavrikov to lead this race and cause a lot of disruption to those drivers who were well clear in the top 5 before this safety car appeared. So here we go, Travis.
Lavrikov comes across the line. Nice jump coming out of the final corner. Everybody in line. Hermias Anella, Federico Silva, Marcelo Neva, what we believe will be who will have the net lead of the race ahead of Isaac Price after these cars ahead stop. Lavrikov into the first corner now. Everybody tidily through behind him so far. Nice line, 3 different makes of cars. XRR's in the lead now with an FXR in third position. And it looks like Marcelo Neva will be challenging to take third as they come down this long back straightaway. Cars strung out behind him. Brazilian flag on the front of this machine. Plenty of overspeed in the slipstream. Position taken. Comes across just a little bit early trying to open up the entry. No harm done. They're both through. Somebody has spun in the background. Did not see who it was. Reg LeBlanc has spun in the background.
Yeah, so it gets worse for Angry Angus Racing with one driver gone and the other losing a lot of places in this sort of safety car restart.
Yeah, Isaac Price side by side with Federico Silva here. Federico Silva up and through the bollards. Isaac Price will sweep around the outside. This will give him the inside of the following corner. He is through before he needs to take the inside advantage. But behind him, Eoin Katila with a train behind him. Vitalis Lagutskas. Vitalis Lagutskas is through. Nico Pantola is alongside him as well. Fin on fin action coming into this corner here. Nico Pantola trying to do the job on the outside. Tricky getting the power down on cold tires. Still coming up to temperature, but he will have the inside line coming into the first of these 2 hairpins. On the brakes, tight down to the curbing. That is Gabber now looking up the rear bumper of Eoin Katila. And now Nico still trying to do this around the outside, but he's going to have Gabor on the inside now. And I think he's going to get pinned here. Nope, he decides to tuck in a line behind. Gabber not able to use the car ahead, Eoin Katila, as a pick and has to fall in line. But Nico all over Eoin. I think Eoin probably not happy with that car, Eoin.
No, it seems troublesome here for Eoin in this second stint, I suppose you could call it. Just in the background of this battle, Pauli Paltakangas and Dawid Gotch have been going neck and neck as well. So Team Sidus are trying to really make waves in this restart opportunity, and it seems like Gabor will swap places with Nico Pantola. So there we go, we can see the Simcat. So there's a Simcat on the roof of Gabor's car, and Nico has them on the door. So there we go, nice free friends for you there.
Race control message was on the screen a moment ago. Drive-through penalty for that collision earlier. Levitas getting a drive-through penalty for causing a collision. At the front, Lavrikov is cleared off in the lead. He's got a few seconds ahead of Marcelo Nieva and Jeremias Zanella. Isaac Price held up behind Jeremias Zanella while we watch this action here. Sean Lee holding 14th. Still yet to pit. A few drivers ahead of him have not pitted either, so he will fall down in the order a few positions, but incredible performance from him so far, up 23 positions from where he started. As we look now side-by-side action, that is our friend and teammate, Sim Broadcast Computers, Zdeněk Stagash in 23rd position, fighting with Balak ahead of him, I believe, and now this is going to be side-by-side into this hairpin, nearly a collision on the brakes. Late lunge there by one of those green machines. Difficult to tell them apart. That is Magic ahead now as Zdeněk comes through the penultimate corner.
Yeah, Jeff and Jacob was in an awkward spot into the 15 Parabolica, but no real harm done. And David Gotch, he's here again. He wants to defend from Verzinskas. Oh, bad exit. And in reality, this should be the FXR through. Oh, don't battle that. Oh, thankfully, yeah, I think he just reacted in the split second necessary, but it's getting worse because here's Sean Lee, another gain. Sean Lee into 13th place with the 88. So there we go. What a run here for Sean Lee.
Sean Lee, out of nowhere, was probably a second and a half behind that fight, and then opportunist move on the power up and over the hill. Mentis Malkevicius gets the job done here from 9th to 8th, not reflected yet on the timing. Sean Lee defending coming into this corner. Bit of a long drive from left to right, but down on the curbing, nice power on the exit. I believe he has the position well and truly held now as he turns in for this left-hander and snakes his way through in pursuit of 12th position. At the front, Lavrikov, that is Jordan Lavrikov, Estonian driver, at the front, building a gap ever so slightly on Marcelo Nieva, about 2 seconds, and then another 2 back to Jeremias Zanella. Isaac Price, Federico Silva not making up any ground on the new leaders.
Yeah, it's certainly a surprise, the fact that he has built up this much of an advantage. I would have thought, you know, the fresh tires would have given a little bit of a head start, but this is bigger than I anticipated. But Isaac Price still not able to get onto the podium again, with Zanella holding very, very firmly onto that 3rd place.
And I think the drivers we need to look for here are Vitalis Lagutskas and Eoin Katila. They were all running very closely together. They had kind of bunched up when we came into that cycle of pit stops, and now there's been a bit more of a shuffle. Vitalis Lagutskas had caught Isaac Price on his own merit, was right there with him. Now this changing of the order at the front with the safety car has set him back slightly. We expect he will come back up the order along with Isaac Price when other drivers who have not stopped need to come in. But right now, they have all this work to do on the road, racing for position from what was 1st, 2nd, now 5th, 6th, 7th for some of these drivers. Mentis Malkevicius in this Mentis Malkevicius in the FZR, with Pauli Peltokangas behind, catching Nico Pantola, who has come up the order from his starting position, and further back, Zdeněk Stagash on Balak once again.
Yeah, just so much going on. There's a battle side-by-side there between Machajutis and Greed in the background as well. So yeah, this lower third of the pack is really getting busy.
Well, we're not yet halfway through, Owen, and this has shaped up to be everything we hoped it would be and more. Brilliant action up and down the order. 3 different makes of cars in the top 5 positions, and Dan Bala now side by side, no longer side by side, through before he needs to jump on the brakes for this corner. A car in the dirt, that is Nierka behind him. Very, very tricky braking there, even more difficult if you're doing it on the grass and not on the pavement. Nerka through in pursuit of Dan Bala. Job done there, coming around to the penultimate corner. Little bit of room to breathe before he comes around to start another lap. And at the front, Isaac Price is now right there with Jeremias Zanella.
Yeah, huge battles going on. Federico Silva has been sanctioned for a collision that he caused on lap 13, turn 17 to 18. So he's currently in 5th place, but he will have to serve that penalty very, very soon. So that was indeed what happened behind the safety car. So yes, he was deemed at fault there for colliding with the Born to Race car. I believe it was Savicis, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Nierka, excuse me, Nierka.
Shame for him because he's had a great race so far, but Vitalis Lagutskas will not be sad to see that penalty because he's not been able to make much headway on his own. He will have Federico Silva out of the way to set off in pursuit of Isaac Price once again, who he was racing early on before the safety car. There you see on the screen confirmation Federico Silva drive-through penalty causing a collision under the safety car. Easy mistake when cars are bunched up and behind in the safety car, trying to warm tires, trying to warm the brakes, trying to shake the sillies out while they're not there at racing speed. But unfortunately, that will end his campaign for a race win. Jari Katila is in a fight further back down the order. A 3-way fight, actually, with Labidas, who is trying to recover from a penalty of his own.
Yeah, he's got an absolutely shattered rear end of that car, having that earlier collision. But of course, it's really cosmetic. It is the suspension that you should be worried about, and it's absolutely fine. So yeah, he will be able to battle with Jari, no problem at all. Let's see what he can do. Now he's got to sit back and wait. So yeah, he's got chances to build up with the drivers also in XRRs. And here we go, the penalties to be served for Federico Silva. And there we have it. He is now 12th, so it's not too bad. But Sean Lee, in the form he's in today, he's got a point to prove, and he'll try and close down that number 14.
And with the bumping and the collisions up and down the order throughout the race, mostly clean driving, but a few miscues here and there, entirely possible we could see another safety car, a virtual safety car. And were that to happen, I would be eyes glued to Sean Lee, who is having a wonderful return to GT2 driving today. Lesterski, oh, there we go. That's magic. Ooh, in the grass. Trying to get the power down, going a little bit wide. Looking for 25th position in the slipstream, but I don't think he'll have enough overspeed to get it done here. Yeah, lost out a little bit on the grass, couldn't get in the power early enough, but nice line through the corner here. Power down early, rolls into the throttle on the exit. Could make a dive here on the brakes. Does he choose to? He does not. In the brakes a little bit early. Dutifully follows behind and will look for an opportunity through this undulating middle part of the circuit. In the front, Owen, Marcello Neva has caught up to Jordan Lavrikov. It is about a 1-second gap now. So Marcello Neva making steady progress on the leader of the race, while Jeremiah Sinella still holds up Isaac Price and Vitalis Lagutskas, who is now clear of the driver who served penalty a few moments ago, Federico Silva. Sorry, thank you. Yeah, strung out at the front, not much action until we get pit stops from the leaders, unless they choose to go the entire distance, which I don't believe they could do, Owen.
No, in this kind of track, you'd be near impossible to get the car all the way to the finish on the same set of tires as you started on. So yeah, this is where Jordan Lavrikov has to probably think about the long game, because he has still to pit. So let's have a look at Isaac Price in the background. This is his long-awaited opening on Zanella for P3. He's gained it, and a little bit of a notice there from Zanella, just saying, I'm not done yet. I will try and counter-attack at some stage. But Isaac Price, now his job is to pull out his best lap times, catch up to Neva and his Energy Racing Team car. Behind this pack, Gabriel Lara still on a charge. Right behind Lesnerski in the number 90, unable to do the job before he comes down to this 180-degree right-hand corner. And while he's looking for Lesnerski ahead of him, Patrick Hall in the green car has gotten right up under his bumper. So now this a three-way fight.
with Taj Kosonen not far behind them. Ooh, just missing the bollards there on the inside, up and over the curbing and into the gravel. That will slow us down a little bit. And Vitalis Laguskas, Owen, right there on Jeremias Sanella. Jeremias Sanella going backwards. Vitalis Laguskas not giving up on his goal of a race win.
No, Laguskas certainly won't throw in the towel at any point. Sanella giving it his best go here, but unfortunately he has, that now disadvantage. Now the tire is a little bit older compared to those in front of him, so he had that brief advantage, but now it's disappearing. Yeah, if he can just keep up with these drivers who have pitted, I think that'll be a decent win for him. Yeah, still a long way to go. We're just about to cross. Yeah, but it's almost halfway, exactly, nearly there.
Yeah, Nierka here fighting with Dan Bala for 15th position. Meanwhile, at the front, the gap between Marcelo Niva and Jordan Lavrikov is now half a second after Niva sets the fastest lap of the race, minute 52.74. Very quick laps, nearly qualifying laps at the front of the order. Lavrikov looks to be in trouble, under challenge for P1, while Isaac Price and Vitalis Laguskas try to chase them down. But here, we have a three-way fight on the screen. This is Nierka with the Yes Motorsports machine trying to go Nierka in the Yes Motorsports machine trying to get by Dan Bala, still side by side. This could be a three-way fight on the brakes into the corner. There we go, defensive move. Defensive move from Dan Bala, holds the position, but now a car's bumping side to side, and unfortunately, that's going to put Nierka down one position instead of up one position. Dan Bala clears off a couple seconds, but further back, we have Magic fighting for position as well.
Yeah, Dominic Balak with a K there. He's cleared this battle for the moment ahead of Jeff and Jacob. Magic with of course, that'll be Ayub right behind in 26. So that'll carry on a little bit of a wobble for Magic in his last position, but now we cross over to our lead battle. Niva has caught up brilliantly to Lavrikov. It's almost a case of side by side being inevitable, but it could be as early as the turn 6 to 7 run here, Travis.
Yeah, if Niva can get a good run through the Eau Rouge complex, which he does through the first part, very good. Doesn't touch the grass or the dirt on the outside. Great power down from Lavrikov on the way out. Just touched the grass a little bit, but I think he's far enough clear of Marcelo Niva that he won't. Yeah, he's no challenge coming into the left-hander here right now. Lavrikov setting a very good pace at the front. Marcelo Niva has caught him and is running close behind him as we watch Ayub fighting for a position well down the order here. That is Jeff and Jakob trying to regain that position with a race green car right behind him. That is Magic behind him, fighting for the 25th position. Yeah, Lavrikov setting a good pace at the front. They're holding steady this gap to Isaac Price. So Niva right there fighting for first position, but Isaac Price not able to make any headway. There you see stops on the timing tower. Lavrikov yet to stop, the only one of the leaders that hasn't, all the way down to position 7, Jeremias Sanella, who also has yet to stop. Sean Lee mired in 13th, next of the cars who need to come in and take new rubber. While we watch Magic here in pursuit of the car ahead of him at the front. Niva once again right there with Jordan Lavrikov. Lavrikov on R2s that can't possibly last much longer. And Niva right there coming through the final corner. Niva makes a move, a late dive on the brakes into the final corner, through into the lead. A little bit eager on the power. Lavrikov unable to get the power down himself. Niva, though, he was a bit too eager and slid out of the final corner. Far enough ahead of Lavrikov, there will be no challenge into the first quarter. Behind them, Nierka side by side with Dan Bala ahead. These two still fighting. Dan Bala loving this. Doesn't have to defend this position from the two fighting behind him. Nierka through, but Botev not giving up on this at all.
Yeah, a bit of a payback that pass, Travis, because Botev got him at turn 8 a little while ago. So yeah, great equal fight here between these two. Fast and crazy. I think Sim Sports, that's Botev's team. So he's going to keep plowing away to try and make sure 16th is his and his alone. And in case anything else happens in front. But yeah, still plenty to fight there. This is Maciek again. He's trying to fight with Jacob, Jeff and Jacob Redbot. Because it was a bad lap for Maciek just before we crossed over to the lead battle. Previously, he had a bit of a loose run into the S's, and that allowed El Hanouni through, and that was a bad exit, I think, there for one of the drivers in the back. It was Lavrikov, yes, so good spot there. Lavrikov still keeping up, though, with Neva, though.
Yeah, it looked like Marcello Neva might clear off, based on how quickly he had caught Lavrikov. But Lavrikov not giving up, the R2s affording more grip than Neva will have in that FZR. A little bit of a gap coming out of this corner. Lavrikov not able to get the power down as well. That is, he's going to suffer from that as the laps go on without him changing tires. Plenty of grip from the R2s, but they will start to give pretty badly toward the end of the run. Even so, still only about half a second, 7/10 of a second back. I think Neva must have made a mistake earlier on in the lap to allow Lavrikov to be so close to him, while Gabriel Lara now, I believe he's just gained a position there, through into 18th position. Gabriel Lara ahead of Lashersky. Comes into the left-hand hairpin corner. Patrick Hall trying to swipe that position for himself as well. Could make a late dive on the brakes. Slightly defensive line from Lashersky. Patrick Hall good on the power. Will be side by side going down to turn one. Not quite able to get the nose in there, but he's going to look to the inside regardless. Should have a move on the brakes into turn one if he's feeling brave. He is not. Stays behind him. That is Kosonen going backward. Zdenek Zagash going through into 21st.
Zdenek. Oh no, Lavrikov. Oh dear. Punctures at the front. 2 front tires punctured. Oh no.
Shame for him. Yeah, he was running so well. Must have locked up to pop both of them at the same time. And now the remaining, the leaders, there's Pauli Peltogongas going through, Nico Patola, Darius Brzezinskis, Federico
All drivers
Silva.
stand by for VSC. Stand by for VSC.
VSC for Lavrikov.
VSC
Lavrikov
5,
very wisely.
4, 3, 2, 1. Virtual safety car deployed. Virtual safety car deployed. Car 2 front
VSC call by Jonathan Palmer.
Sector 3.
And Lavrikov very politely staying well out of the way, off the racing surface entirely. Now the race neutralized, and we look ahead to drivers who have, we look ahead. I would have said look behind Lavrikov just a few minutes ago. But now Sean Lee ahead of Lavrikov on the road. One of the drivers who needs to stop, I believe the only one ahead of Lavrikov, who has fallen to 13th. Yeah, so now we need to look at the lane.
Neva for a second stop, trying to take advantage of this VSC. New tires on board, and Zanella gets his opportunity after a long stint. But I suppose, Sean Lee on R3s, if he can get to pit lane, it would be very helpful for him to do it. But the R2s gave up after 25 laps on those XR. So Sean will pit. Sean absolutely pits. So
and he should be able to hold. He should be able to hold this position, Owen, because there is a big gap behind him.
And how about this? Mantas Malkovicius, non-able to overtake Neva, so Neva only
green
down
flag,
a handful
green
of positions,
flag.
Travis. Extraordinary.
Oh,
green
the
flag.
VSC called off just as Sean Lee parked the car, so he's going to lose some positions as cars come back up to racing speed. 16th now, but a couple more cars coming through. He's going to fall to about 20th. Still a great job from him to get up as far as he has, and he has time to make up more positions. Fight for 4th and 5th position. That is Neva alongside Mantas Malkovicius. Neva not quite able to take the position. Mantas Malkovicius. Oh no!
Sean and Zagash have collided. Turn one, a bit of a mayhem, because obviously Sean was just coming out of pit lane. Sean would have been exiting pit lane, and Zdenek wouldn't be able to see him, I suppose. Something has resulted in miscommunication. Now Eoin Nooney passed them both.
Shame for Sean. It looked like the timing was perfect for the VSC, and then green flag racing just as he was parking the car. Did not benefit as much as he would have liked. And then contact with Kid Zdeněk Sagaš coming out of pit lane after he had already gotten a contact warning. So this may go from bad to worse for Sean Lee. Meanwhile, at the front, 1, 2, 3, all right there together. Vitalis Lagutskas in the second position, once again behind Isaac Price, who has resumed the lead of the race. Eoin Katila not far behind, with Gabber in fourth behind them. Not too far back, you can see about 10 car lengths separate Eoin Katila and Gabber. Vitalis Lagutskas on the power behind Isaac Price. Now past halfway through this race, 20 laps remaining. 19 as Isaac Price crosses the line. Vitalis Lagutskas looked so good early on. I think we're shaping up to have a grandstand finish here, Eoin.
We are indeed. Cyril Bissy there has just come out of the pits. He's getting lapped. So, yeah, no harm done there. He got out nicely out of the way of everyone. So, yeah, it was great to chat with him last week at the end of GT4 Sprint Cup. So, yeah, he's going to gain more experience as he continues his journey in this LFS campaign, I suppose. So, yeah, keep up the good work. We have more blue flags to worry about in a little while.
Nothing changing at the top of the order since the VSC shuffle. That was... Oh, there, Sean in pit lane. Sean missed his pit box when he came into pit lane, which compounded, or I guess kicked off all of the issues he had on the way out. Isaac Price in the lead of the race. Nothing changing since the end of the VSC, caused by Jordan Lavrikov. 2 front punctures, probably lockups after running very, very long on R2s. Sends him all the way back to about 20th position now. Isaac Price in the lead of the race, a little bit, about 1 second clear of Vitalis Lagutskas, who has Eoin Katila right behind him now, coming into the penultimate corner.
Sean has cleared Sagaš. Hopefully he can hang on to that high, wide and drifty entry, but no, it was too loose. So Sagaš using his superior traction on turn in there, keeping all that position. But yeah, Sean's on R3s actually. He's been on the R3 compound, Travis, so yeah, he hasn't had to push as hard, but he's really going for it here. He wants this position off Sagaš, and he's not going to take no for an answer.
Very brave driving by Sean, and I think Zdeněk is just holding on for dear life and hoping he doesn't get the Sean Lee punt. I think this is somewhat typical Sean Lee. He makes a mistake and gets a little bit frustrated. Very, very quick and talented driver. He just needs to reel it in a little bit, take a deep breath, take a lap, and then be a bit more tactical and perhaps a little bit less emotional. Sean Lee still having a hell of a day, up to 21st position from 37th. Can make more of it if he can get his head down and focus on the job. At the front, Niva chasing down Mentas Malkevicius for 5th position. As we look back to Darius Verzinsis and Jeremiah Sanella in 10th. Dan Bala in a fight once again. These two cannot get away from one another. That is Borislav Botev now trying to retake this position from Dan Bala, and he has done easily before they even turn in. A little bit wide on the exit. Dan Bala should have the power down early enough to get right on the bumper here. If he's brave, could see a dive on the brakes. He does. Hard on the brakes, side by side into this right-hander. Borislav Botev, great job on the power around the outside. Holds that position. Well done.
Excellent driving there. And Sean Lee has been deemed as the culprit for that incident that we just caught the end of with Sagaš at the turn 1 entry when he rejoined the track from the pits, and he has a drive-through penalty to serve.
Yeah, Sean has all of that hard work to do once again. Could still be on for the high climber, but not quite as impressive as it might have been after he serves a drive-through penalty. Isaac Price crosses the line. There we see him streak under the gantry with Vitalis Lagutskas and Eoin Katila in pursuit. They were closing up slightly in the preceding laps, now separating themselves a bit more once again. Nothing changing near the front. These cars snaking through, up and over, watching the suspension work through these high-speed elevation changes and curbs. Nice deep shot all the way down this long straightaway. You can see cars snaking out of the Eau Rouge complex. focused on Vitalis Lagutskas, now turning in for this left-hander. Pitch the car into the right. Nice power right there right there in the tire tracks. But goes a little bit wide, too eager on the power. Sean Lee comes in to serve his drive-through. Eoin Katila will be right behind Vitalis Lagutskas when we pick up the leaders again.
I suppose Lavrikov on his journey back up the order, he's now ahead of Sean Lee, but Jeff and Jacob behind Lavrikov. So it's now 23rd position for Sean Lee, so he's still on course for a contender for the highest climber bonus of 2 points. So yeah, it's well within Sean's interest to keep going and hope for something to happen. Yeah, it wasn't as good as that P13 peak that he was enjoying for a while.
Fight for second position now. Vitalis Lagutskas would like to catch Isaac Price. He was challenging early in the race. Now a couple seconds behind Isaac and worried about Eoin Katila. Right behind him now coming through this corner, and behind them Gabber not too far behind in pursuit. So could see a three-way fight for this second position. Gabber no slouch, but also not really accustomed to driving up the order and overtaking cars to snatch race wins. He usually does it from pole position and drives off in the distance. Having to work for it today. Eoin Katila, wide entry here, has lost a little bit of time to Vitalis Lagutskas, while Gabber has caught slightly. Fastest lap has gone to Mantas Malkovicius, minute 52.56 in the FZ. So all of these leaders running very close times, trading fastest laps. Dan Balla in a fight once again further down the order. Dan Balla, I think, would like to get his head down and just drive the car, but he cannot escape competitors around him.
No, it's always something, I'm afraid, for Balla today, Travis. Yeah, the same few rivals keep cropping up for him, but yeah, solid that he can keep going and maybe pull off a few more overtakes. But yeah, with Gabor in fourth position here, you have to try his best to put a little bit of pressure on Eoin. But there we go. Speak of the devil, Dan Balla does overtake David Gotch.
Very nicely done into the right-hander, too. With that much overspeed, he carried the speed very well out of the Eau Rouge complex. It's difficult to get the car turned in and judge the speed through the corner without sliding wide. Expertly done there by Dan. And now he is off once again to fight with Borislav Botev, who had gotten away from him. I think Dan Balla must have made a mistake somewhere and ended up behind David Gaj and Borislav Botev. Now he will go fighting for that position once again. Ayub El Hanouni has caught Kosonen. These two now running right behind one another. Kosonen with Ayub El Hanouni right under the diffuser of that car. Ayub, arguably the quicker driver. Very talented in BF1. He featured prominently in the MRC BF1 leagues. And now great shot from the front of this car. Going to have a peek to the inside. Tricky pass right here. You want to make the entry as wide as you possibly can. But Ayub gets the job done. Kosonen gives him plenty of room. Ayub up into 18th position.
Yeah, it's great. Mutual understanding there for both drivers. When it does become a head-to-head battle in those S's, then yeah, you do have to probably figure out what's best for your own race, and then make sure you don't lose too much momentum if you have to concede the position. Just you have to continue to stay flat on the throttle so that something else doesn't cost you any more time.
Ayub El Hanouni now with a gap to the car in position 19 at the front. Isaac Price still a second and a half or so ahead of Vitalis Lagutskas. There's been a bit of an accordion among the leaders, catching somewhat, getting closer together, and then further apart. Now none of those drivers in contact 2/3 of the way through the race. Picking up Zdenek Zagash now fighting for 19th position. Catching up to Kosonen, who just yielded 18th to Ayub, who has disappeared a couple seconds up the road now. Zdenek would like to make as much of this as he can after contact with Sean Lee set him back a few positions.
Yeah, it's absolutely vital for Zagash to make a little bit of ground back. If Kosonen is a bit vulnerable here, his rear end sliding a little bit much than a bit more than he would have liked. His clutch is a little bit hot as well, so he needs to monitor that. So yeah, Sagash would be my hot favorite to make an overtake sooner rather than later.
Yeah, the theme for Tomo Kosonen appears to be that he is struggling with the rear of that car and perhaps also the clutch. He's in an FZ, which is a manual H-pattern transmission. Most drivers use an auto clutch or a button clutch in order to change the gears. Some drivers flat shift if they're feeling especially brave, though typically only in qualifying. So I think perhaps a little bit of difficulty coming to grips with the clutch behavior in that car. And it is affecting his race. Now Zdeněk Sagaš right there on top of him. If he can get a good exit out of the corner, will be in prime position to challenge for 19th coming into the first corner. One car length separates them. Zdeněk will have the slipstream coming into the first corner. Question is, will he be brave enough on the brakes? He looks to the inside hard on the brakes. Easily done. Kosonen, ooh, perhaps not easily. Big slide in the middle of the corner. Kosonen gives him plenty of room, though they're going to fight side by side coming into Eau Rouge. Kosonen yields wisely, though Zdeněk going to go wide up and over the top, just keeps it inside the barges of the circuit, while Federico Silva ahead of them going backward. Gabriel Lara going forward, up into 15th.
Yeah, so that battle carries on. So we saw Federico Russo having, Silva, excuse me, having a good run earlier, but then that drive-through penalty cost him dearly, but he's still got potential. So let's see with Lavrikov also on the scene here. He's trying to get that 20th position secured as Kosonen is tumbling down the order a little bit now. So that should be job done.
Yeah, unfortunately, Tomo Kosonen looking a bit like Carlos Macioidis did early in the race, just struggling to keep the car under full control and working at maximum potential. Lavrikov led the race for much of the early running after a virtual safety car shuffle promoted him to the lead. A safety car, not a virtual safety car. Safety car promoted him to the lead of the race. Punctures at the front on his R2s demoted him well down the order, now trying to recover as many positions as he can. As we look from the helicopter to Isaac Price, still a second and change ahead of Tadeusz Lagutskas, who has gapped Joni Katila. Gabber about 1 second behind Joni. Mentis Malkevicius a few seconds further adrift from Gabor. So no drivers in contention. Sim Cats on the top of that car. The Sim Broadcast logo with an abbreviated broadcasts and a low contrast cat superimposed. Very creative, distinctive car. The bright pink with the Sim Cat on top of it. Thanks to Isaac for the humorous nod there as he jumps on the brakes for this tricky hairpin. Nice and clean over the flat part of the curb. Handily on to the power, and off he goes for the final two corners before he starts lap 34 of this 45-lap race.
Yeah, so we'll see if the furry mascot on top of Isaac's car will get him all the way to the win, but of course Sidus like to use the same motif, so I believe it'll be Gabor's joke as well. So someone came up with a joke, and they're making sure it gets a bit of airtime.
Cat memes on top of that car, and there's a portrait of, we picked up the Born to Race driver Nierka. I was about to say Chad Esports, Yes Motorsports, more or less at the same team. Nierka looking to regain a 13th position here. Had some memes of their own in the previous season. I believe one of these Yes Motorsports car has a portrait of Joni Katila on the bonnet. I don't remember which driver. We'll pick that up as opportunity affords. Federico Silva now trying to get by Patrick Hall. Patrick Hall nicely done on the power to get away on the outside, though Federico Silva could challenge. Looking to the inside, could dive on the brakes here. Not close enough. Chooses to fall in behind, and Patrick Hall, off he goes. New recipient of 16th position, up the hill and in pursuit. Next driver ahead of him, which will be, I believe that's David Gotch further ahead. No, Gabriel Lara ahead, which I think he will probably have some difficulty catching Eoin, because Gabriel Lara, though he's well down the order, has been mighty quick.
Yeah, for sure. Lara has been very, he's been very determined. He's made every opportunity he has gotten count, and he's kept the car as clean as he can. Maybe one or two small things. Bissy might be lagging a little bit. I just saw his name in thin air for a moment, but hopefully he's able to rejoin, or else that'll be DNF, I'm afraid. It could be too little too late, but he can rejoin and get his laps back should he choose to do so, but otherwise, yeah, it would be a DNF by disconnection. So yeah, that was one of our drivers towards the back. Fastest lap for Leguskas, so that takes a 10th or so out of Isaac's lead. So yeah, Bissy has timed out, but if he can rejoin, then he'll be able to do so another lap down.
Lots happening all at once. Vitalis Legutska's fastest lap, as Eoin just called. We missed a couple broadcast graphics amid the earlier action. One is that if you want to see the live order, you can go to tracker.newdimensionracing.com to see live timing. And then the picture that you just saw on the screen, that is actually what we look like. Those are real portraits, not at all computer generated. Your broadcast team here today. Nierka, 14th position, looking to regain a few. Also suffered from an early collision that set him back. Now looking for 13th. That is David Gotch, MRC Texas, as many people know him, just ahead. Tadeusz Legutskas snaking through I think the FXR looks best going up and over these hills and curbs. I think it highlights the suspension and the tires working in Live for Speed better than any other car. You can see it bumping and grounding as he goes up and over the hills and dales of the Aston circuit. Though he looks good and he does have the quickest lap of the race right now, still not able to make headway on Isaac Price. But Eoin, traffic is about to come into play. Isaac Price only a few seconds behind the back markers.
Yes, we can certainly see Elvis, Libietz, and Reg LeBlanc are both going to be, or Libetis, excuse me, I keep getting that one wrong. Libitis and LeBlanc will both be caught up by race leader soon.
10 laps remaining.
Lavrikov currently battling Sagash for 19. So, yeah, two drivers who've had a bit of bad fortune today. Lavrikov getting the double punctures at the front, and Sagash getting involved with a collision with Sean Lee. So they'll be battling away, possibly for the remainder of the race, with 10 to go for race leader Price and his pursuer Leguskas.
While watching the other fight, Nierka, we picked him up just as he's gotten past David Gotch. So up to 13th position for him. Gap at the front down to just over 1 second as Isaac Price catches Reg LeBlanc and Elvis Libitis. 1 second between Isaac Price and Vitalis Legutskas, who is currently holding the fastest lap of the race. So 10 laps, well, 9.5 laps or so remaining right now on lap 36 of 45. Vitalis Legutskas looking to make more hay against Isaac Price, who needs to get through the traffic. Tadeusz Legutskas would like that traffic to hold up Isaac Price. All of them getting well out of the way, almost all the way off the circuit there on the left side, letting the leaders through. Very polite and kind from them. So no advantage to either driver. Tadeusz Legutskas still has all the work to do himself. No help from the back markers. Isaac Price still needs to get through Reg LeBlanc. Reg LeBlanc, no slouch and no stranger to this kind of racing. Expect he will be out of the way himself when it becomes convenient for him. And Isaac Price will catch him right out of the final corner.
Yeah, and Cyril Bissy has been granted his opportunity to rejoin, so yeah, he has that right to do so. We just want to make sure. So he'll rejoin towards the back. Now Reg LeBlanc has been lapped himself, so that'll be important for Elvis to try and get a little bit of momentum back. But yeah, definitely if Reg just keeps this cool head on his shoulders, then yeah, he will have a big advantage over the No Motorsports car.
Nicely done by Reg LeBlanc there. Expert driving under blue flags to give Isaac Price the room and then slot in on the power, carry racing speed through the corner, and then let Vitalis Lagutskas through. And then same thing for Eoin Katila. So, yeah, we don't often give a lot of attention to the back markers apart from how they can affect the race, but very smart heads-up driving by Reg there. Now giving the slipstream to Menja Smolkovicius. What a guy. As these guys go through without their races being impeded, still in contact with one another, racing on their own merits, back markers not coming into play at all. Isaac still has the work to do to stay ahead. Vitalis still chasing him down, about 1.2 seconds clear. Eoin Katila has caught him slightly, so I think Eoin benefited somewhat. Perhaps Vitalis did not get through quite as cleanly as Eoin did behind him. Nico off somewhere.
This is the turn 11-12 section. Nico Pantola down places. He was having a superb run after being the first driver to pit under the initial VSC. So he's lost 8th place and is down to 9th. So one drop as Darius Verzinskas took full advantage. And indeed, lap traffic here. Koskun is going to be lapped there by Verzinskas.
Well out of the way on the right side of the circuit, letting the leaders through. Nico Pantola, yeah, as you said, great drive. An impressive performance from him. Didn't qualify as well as he would have liked. Eoin Katila has set a monstrous fastest lap of the race, about 4/10 quicker than what Vitalis Lagutskas had done earlier. 52.1 seconds. So Eoin Katila in hot pursuit of Vitalis Lagutskas. Though Vitalis Lagutskas still setting fast laps of his own. I had a correction in my ear, about 2/10 quicker. Vitalis Lagutskas had set a faster lap that I missed. So Eoin Katila now holds the fastest lap of the race. That's worth 1 point when all is said and done. No, my mistake. There is no point for fastest lap. Only points for highest climber in pole position. Gabriel Lara now with Dan Balla right behind him. I think I sold Dan Balla a little bit short a few minutes ago, Owen. He has caught Gabriel Lara.
Patrick Hall, sorry, yeah, he's got the plain green livery.
My mistake, my apologies.
He's had a good race, very solid for Patrick Hall. Started P21 up to 16th now. You would love to get into the top 15 now. It seems like Lara in the identical F. Zedor is just going to hang on a bit now. Sean Lee going very aggressively through Eau Rouge. Koskinen again struggling a little bit. He's more than struggling, Travis. He's got a puncture.
That is a shame for him. Yeah, he was going, backwards slowly, but still running pretty well. Now he's awfully quick through here with a puncture. I think he needs to go through somewhat more conservatively. Yep. Plenty of tire left on that left front apparently, and through here safely. But if the other tire lets go, my goodness. Yeah, Owen, we're trading fastest laps now. Gabber throws the gauntlet down into the 51s, 51.99.
We were thinking Price versus Lagutskas was the probable conclusion. Eoin Katila says, no, that's not going to be the case. It's a 3-way. And Gabor says, make it a 4. A fatal 4-way for the win, perhaps. With Gabor putting in the fastest lap to close the gap to Eoin to 1 second and then 3 overall to the leader. So Price about 8/10 clear, 9/10 clear of Lagutskas. So it's so close. No mistakes will go unpunished.
Yeah, we're watching this fight between Patrick Hall and Gabriel Lara, but at the front, the headlines are dominated, well, recently by Eoin Katila and Gabber trading fastest laps. But Vitalis Lagutskas is catching Isaac Price while they're trading fastest laps behind them. So the top 4 separated by only 3 seconds while they're catching traffic. So in the closing laps of the race, they will be navigating back markers. Vitalis Lagutskas only 1 second behind Isaac Price. That was 8/10 earlier on in the lap. So trading time through the sectors, the different corners, these cars working slightly better in different places on the circuit. And now you can see ahead of Isaac Price. You can see ahead of Isaac Price the traffic. Vitalis Lagutskas using the rear of that car. The FXR isn't meant to be driven that way. While they catch back markers, any one of these 4 of the leaders could come away with the win here, Owen.
Exactly, Travis. This is just going to be exceptionally close. A bit more in the way of blue flags. That would be Balak, currently 28th. Dominic Balak and Jari Katela. So this will be a case of the father and the son combo. Hopefully it doesn't come into any factor, but yeah, Jari, the father, will have his son battling for the win here, and he'll get out of the way soon enough. This is a good opportunity to do so, but of course with Balak is the first one in the blue flags crosshairs. We'll see what he does, and hopefully it's all fair play for these blue flag drivers. But Patrick Hall still battling with his FZR compatriot for the important P15.
Ooh, tricky place to get out of the way by Balak. He does. Oh, he comes out just ahead of Gabber, so Gabber going to lose time on Eoin Katila. Too much for us to follow here. The leaders, none of them in close contention, battling while we follow this fight between Patrick Hall and Gabriel Lara. These two stuck to one another seemingly from lap 35 to the very end of this race. So we will keep an eye on this great action while we watch the front. Vitalis Lagutskas, that is Jari Katila. Similar liveries. I thought Yoni had gotten past him, and then Vitalis retook the position. He has not. A little bit closer now to Isaac Price at the front, but Yoni closer still. And Jari in between Yoni and Gabber. Jari the elder, perhaps holding up Gabber a little bit there. Intentionally so, maybe not. Vitalis Lagutskas ever so slightly catching on Isaac Price. Yoni there too. Patrick Hall, meanwhile, still can't make any progress on Gabriel Lara. Who do we look at, Owen?
Well, if Patrick Hall, if he's just stuck in the wake, and Ayub may catch up very soon, he may make a decision on behalf of both these drivers. Again, this is an FZR contest, but honestly, if the lead battle is just identical lap times, give or take 1/10 from everybody, so that is phenomenal. But it doesn't take away Isaac Price's lead. So yeah, it's so fragile. This race, it could go haywire very quickly.
This is amazing driving by Gabriel.
Long way back.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, amazing driving by Gabriel Lara to keep the car where he wants it with Patrick Hall all over his mirrors. Patrick Hall clearly being slowed down by Gabriel Lara now. That's allowed Ayub El-Anouni to catch up. Three-way fight now. Ayub, can he take advantage? Yes, he can. Patrick Hall goes wide. Ayub will try to take both of them. Gabriel Lara clearly struggling with the car. Oh, Ayub right under his bumper on the way out of the corner. Snaking all over the track. Patrick Hall behind him. Amazing fight for 16th position, 15th position. We're keeping an eye on this while trying to watch the lead. Still 1 second separates Vitalis Lagutskas and Isaac Price. Eoin Katila another second back, 2 seconds back to Gabber, held up by Jari. So no close fighting at the front. We keep our eyes on this excitement here in the middle of the pack. Ayub, you can see the car working through the compression. Great shot there. A little bit of dust kicked up by Gabriel Lara. Stay out of my wake, he says to Ayub El-Anouni behind him. Patrick Hall falls a bit further back, not in contention now. And who is that on the left behind him? That is Lavrikov trying to reclaim more positions after an early setback. Right behind Patrick Hall. He's come out of nowhere. Great run out of the Eau Rouge complex, Owen. Four-way fight for 16th position while we try to keep an eye on the lead.
Yeah, it's delightful to watch, but being in the middle of it, it's got to be a high-stress situation. And Lavrikov, yeah, he's trying his utmost to claw back some of those positions he lost from his double puncture. And Patrick, this was the moment he's been waiting and waiting to get past Lara, but of course El-Anouni's gotten in between them, and he'd love a bit of payback. And he's going to understeer very badly wide. Patrick Hall dives in, takes his place back, and now with a bit of confidence steering through him, he wants to make this long-awaited pass on Lara, but he's very gentle through 15 into 16 now.
Lara,
still so
defensive
close.
line. Lara defensive line. Patrick Hall has to get in the brakes a little bit early. That allows Ayub Elanuni to catch up, and now behind them, Lavrikov right there. So four-way fight for 15th, four-way fight for the lead. Isaac Price behind two cars that are racing one another.
Yeah,
That is,
Maciek and Bozidar Velinov. This is a genuine battle for 25th, and unfortunately have to put their differences aside for a moment. Here's Isaac, he's right now. He's right close Velinov, taking to the gravel to avoid the wrath of Isaac Price and Vitatas Laguskas, but it opens the contest wide open. It completely changes the dynamics. Laguskas so close, and now Yanni Katila, he's got to still catch up to Maciek. Oh, wow.
Magic deep on the brakes to get out of the way. Vitalis Lagutskas still using the rear of this FXR. It doesn't work that way. It's four-wheel drive, but he's making it work. Vitalis Lagutskas right there on Isaac Price. You could barely put your foot between them. Vitalis Lagutskas going to have the slipstream. Isaac Price runs all the way down to the inside of the circuit, coming across the start-finish line. Vitalis right there, looks to the outside, pulls out to the left. He'll go braking on the curb, try to do the over-under. He wants Isaac Price to go wide. Isaac Price is wide. Vitalis Lagutskas on the power early, side by side into the Eau Rouge complex. One back row marker separates them from Yanni Katila behind. Vitalis Lagutskas through into the lead, side by side through the Eau Rouge complex. Off he goes. Magic still separates Isaac Price from Yanni Katila, but Vitalis Lagutskas takes the lead of the race with 3 to go.
Absolutely brilliant. And Laguskas has a criticism of the FZR on his number plate. He thinks it's OP, and he gets a bit of retribution on that fact. And Yanni Katila, he's probably caught Price in a difficult state of mind because he's lost the lead so close to the end, no fault of his own. And Laguskas going to pull away now, using all that traction to his benefit. And Yanni will have slipstream, but it's perhaps the section of the track, Travis, that will help the lead car. Unless he's slow on exit, it will give Yanni a chance to cut back as well, what we saw between Patrick Hall and Ayub Elanuni earlier, but Isaac's too smart for that.
Yes, please. Thank you very much, motorsports driver Vitalis Lagutskas, loving what he sees behind him. Isaac Price fighting Yanni Katila for second position. Jeff and Jacob well out of the way. Plenty of back markers firing themselves off to stay clear of the leaders. Gabber is right there behind Yanni now. Yanni was right behind Isaac Price. Now these two fighting one another for the final step on the podium. Vitalis Lagutskas about to start the 44th lap of the race, and he's got a gap on Isaac Price. He just needs to put his head down, run clean laps. Gabber right there with Yanni Katila now. Can he take third position? Yanni, we would expect. He's so good at driving past other cars. Gabber has the line. Yanni a little bit early on the brakes. He's going to try to cut back on the power, but Gabber so good in the power. Nobody better than Gabber on the brakes and in the power early. Gabber has third. Vitalis Lagutskas, Ballard flying off ahead of him. Not sure if that was him or if somebody helped it up into the air in front of him. Vitalis Lagutskas, 1.5 laps remaining, looking at victory with Isaac Price 1 second behind. Isaac Price looked like he had it under control. Back markers come into play. Vitalis Lagutskas swipes the lead of the race. Still side-by-side racing. Yanni on the inside. Tricky place to respond. And he has to tuck in behind, Eoin.
He does indeed. This is worth a 5-point swing. 80 points for third, 75 for fourth. And neck and neck through turn 8. They won't yield whatsoever. Is this P3 back for Yanni? It is. But Gabor, he has to wait perhaps for turns 12, 13. He won't give up necessarily. But yeah, it could be the case where the FZR could struggle through the sweeping turn 13 unless he's on the ideal racing line. The gradient will come into play. Bit of a run now for Yanni. But the lead battle, it's still on. It's no premature celebrations in the cockpit of the 38 whatsoever. Laguskas so close yet so far.
Yeah, Vitalis Lagutskas has run these tires all the way down to the treads, to the bands. Does he have one more lap in them? He's committed now, can't come in and change them. It is the win or nothing for Vitalis Lagutskas. He needs them to survive for one more lap. Isaac Price clawing back that gap ever so slightly. Gabber still fighting with Yanni Katila behind. Only a few car lengths separate them. So Vitalis Lagutskas, fastest lap of the race on lap 44. does better than Eoin Attila by about 0.05 of a second. Vitalis Lagutskas, good through Eau Rouge. The compression, the lateral acceleration, doing the most work on the tires here, apart from the winding corners in the second half of the lap. Gabber right behind Eoin. Oh, Eoin's so good on the power. I think Eoin just enough, but Gabber in the slipstream. Does he have enough to get right under the rear wing of Eoin and make a move into the 180-degree right-hander? Keeping an eye on this while we monitor Vitalis Lagutskas' tires, running them down to the barest of margins. Isaac Price 1 second behind. Vitalis Lagutskas growing this gap ever so slightly on this lap. He needs to survive a few more corners, the toughest on the car. Gabber still right there with Eoin Attila. How will this finish, Eoin?
Don't put this on me, Travis. I cannot say for sure, but it is still Lagutskas. He's got a healthy enough advantage, but the hard braking points of 15 and into 16, I should say, that could be the factor. If he can just maintain his traction into that corner, then Isaac Price's best chance for the last lap lunge will be taken away. So here we go into 16. Oh, he's using a lot of brake there just to make absolutely definite on that. He's back on the power, just 2 more corners, and Vitalis Lagutskas will be the race 1 winner in round 1, of course. So here we go, 1 more corner. Has he got it under control using handbrake assistance just to be certain he's got it? Vitalis Lagutskas wins round 1 of the 2024 GT2 Challenge in a remarkable, phenomenal ending.
Side-by-side finish behind them. Gabber just alongside Eoin Attila, but not quite enough. No, Gabber got it. Gabber got Eoin was ahead. Gabber got him at the line. No, it switched back. The final result shows Eoin Attila in third. The overlay there showed Gabber briefly in third position. Eoin in third. FXR, FZR, XRR, 3 cars in the 3 top positions as the remaining drivers cross the line. Vitalis Lagutskas, an incredible drive from him. Isaac Price gets the fastest lap on the very last lap of the race. We missed it. Vitalis Lagutskas fastest on lap 44. Isaac Price fastest on lap 45. Unfortunately, not enough to get Vitalis about 1 second behind at the end. Back markers, blue flags come into play. Vitalis Lagutskas uses them expertly to swipe the top spot in the closing laps and then hold off Isaac Price to take victory in round 1. Eoin, that was everything we thought it would be and a bit more, and then perhaps a bit more still. GT2 Challenge, just like we hoped it would, delivers, and that's only round 1.
Yeah, exactly. 3 more rounds to go in the season, coming through the remainder of February into March. Zdenek Sagash has a puncture on his front left, so he will be able to use his 4-wheel drive to manage that situation as best he can. Maybe Motojitas on the line. He really has struggled through the final corner. Motojitas, yeah, that is for position, so 21st for Kid. But yeah, he'll be probably feeling that was the race that got away from him. But yeah, congratulations without a doubt to Vitalis Lagutskas. What a drive.
So now I'm looking up and down the order to see who will have gotten the highest climber, and I believe it will still be Sean Lee. After a contact and a drive-through penalty following a very spirited drive to get from 37th up to about 13th, he serves his drive-through penalty and then moves up again to 16th position. So up 22 positions, Sean Lee. Fantastic drive for him. What could have been a top 10. Sean was poised to gain 30 positions in this race, perhaps. And there we see the drivers in the background, the podium photo assembling behind these results. Isaac Price, nice and tight to the right front fender of Vitalis Lagutskas, the winner of this race. Isaac Price second, Eoin Attila third. Gabber not far behind, finished just 1/10 clear of Eoin Attila. They were actually side by side as they came across the line. Mentis Malkevicius finishes in 5th ahead of Marcello Neva. Ran in the lead early, a little bit unlucky with the shuffle of safety cars. Pali Peltagongas behind him, Darius Virginskas in 8th. 9th goes to Nico Batola. Great recovery from him. Didn't qualify very well. finishes in the top 10. Good points for Nico Patola and the Sidus team. Jeremias Zanella in 10th position. Ahead of Borislav Botev, Dan Bala. These two couldn't get away from one another. Great drive from both of them. Great finish in 11th and 12th. Nerka in 13th. Federico Silva, another recipient of a penalty during this race, ahead of Patrick Hall and Sean Lee, likely the highest climber. Waiting for confirmation on that. Lavrikov, shame for him. He led after the safety car shuffle. Looked like he was still on for a strong result, but a bit too aggressive with R2 tires. Suffered a double front puncture, had to come in and take service at a very inconvenient time. Ahead of Ayub Al-Anouni, David Gaj, Carlos Machiotis, rounding out the top 20.
Yeah, cheers for that, Travis. We'll hopefully get page 2 coming very soon.
Yep.
There it is. Spot on.
Yeah, we'll put out the call for interviews. If you'd like to join us in the commentary box for an interview, then do make your way to the interview waiting room in TeamSpeak. And here, the second page of results is Jenik Zagash, a spirited drive from him as well. Struggled a little bit early after contact, lost a few positions, had to recover. Jeremy Greed finishes 22nd ahead of Magic and Bozanar Velinov. The two of them also racing one another for much of that race. Saw plenty of action from the two of them. Yari Katila finishes ahead of Gabriel Lara, who tumbled late in the race. Owen, didn't see how that happened. We need to follow up on that. Reg LeBlanc ahead of Elvis Labidas. Toma Kosonen, Mimit Chushkin in 30th position. And then Balak, Jeff and Jakob, Ivan Slavov, and Bisset finish the order in 34th position. 4 drivers not classified, not finishing the race from the 38 who were actually entitled to take part. Fastest lap of the race goes to Isaac Price on the very last lap of asking, minute 51.88. And Owen, save me. I need a breath.
Yeah, will do. We do have a busy waiting room. Vytautas Laguskas, the winner. Yeah, I suppose he has the opportunity to come in first. So let's bring in Vytautas. Hello, Vytautas. Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can.
Absolutely wonderful. Congratulations. Do you honestly think that was within reality, or was that a surprise to even yourself?
To be honest, when the safety car came out, I thought my race was basically over, because when I did stints in the practice, I couldn't do more than 30 laps, and here we had to do more.
Wow, that is unreal. Yeah, we did see the punctures that took who was originally the race leader a bit later on in the stint. So that was another VSC that might have helped you out. But yeah, it was a big crash for Jared Mead that brought out the safety car, and it caused a lot of consternation. So a lot of drivers gambled on staying out. It was Lavrikov who unfortunately had the punctures occur. So yeah, talk to us about that ending, because it was absolutely brilliant.
Ooh, in the ending, to be fair, I was saving my tires a lot, but when there were only a few laps left, I knew that I could make it. And then I started to push Isaac on pace. We were doing like very similar laps, but in the end, one of world-class Lion cars like made Isaac miss his line into going into the couple last sectors. And for that reason, I could have caught up to him in the end and make the move on the next lap.
Vytautas, congratulations. We were following the end of your race with chattering teeth and wringing hands because your tires are so close. How close do you believe you were?
I think I had like 1 or 2 more laps left in them.
Well, fortunately, that is all you need. Congratulations on the win today. Going into the second round, you've got you have FZR OP, or some of the FXR drivers have FZR OP. Clearly, the FX are good enough. How do you feel about it going into the next round at Rockingham?
I believe it will be similar like here. Maybe XRR will be a little bit better on pace, but I believe we will have a great race again.
Well, it was certainly great for us. It looked like a lot of fun for you, and certainly doesn't get any better than a race win. So thanks for putting on a great performance for us to watch and to share with everyone. Congratulations once again, and we will see you again in a couple weeks. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Owen, shall we bring Isaac in?
Yes, please. Good idea. Welcome, Isaac. Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you.
So I suppose mixed feelings for yourself because you got the pole, you sprinted clear when everyone else was battling behind you, but I suppose the fact that you just held on once I think it was Neva was two stopping, you were so close to the win, but it just wasn't to be. So do you mind telling us about it?
Yeah, I knew that Neva was going to pit again, so I wasn't really too worried about him. The race was always going to be with Vitaltas because I knew from practice that the FZR was quite a lot faster in quali, but in the race, the FXR was a little bit quicker. And the one saving thing that I had was that I could qualify ahead and then take more fuel and go longer in the race. Obviously, the safety car kind of changed that dynamic a little bit. But Vitaltas still had to save his tyres, and I wasn't really sure how much time he'd lose with that. But the way it worked out is he didn't really lose too much because I was stuck behind Haraloco for that period of the race. And I was trying to just manage the gap so that he wasn't ever close enough to get a run on me coming out the last corner because the FXR is obviously really fast in those kind of last three corners, but then slower the rest of the lap. But yeah, the way it worked out is just I got traffic right as we went into that sector. Yeah, there wasn't really anything I could do. So yeah, it was just one of those things. But yeah, Vitaltas drove a great race, and yeah, I think that was pretty much the best I could have done with it. Really, there wasn't much I could have done better in the race.
Yeah, congratulations to you on P2, Isaac. Talk about the traffic a little bit. From our view, everybody was pretty well, was very well behaved, very polite, and it looked like there you just caught the traffic at a bad time, and it was enough for Vitaltas to kind of exploit his tire saving and then use the barest of margins he had left to get you at the very end.
Yeah, I don't think they did anything wrong. I think that they were having their own battle, and. Yeah, the way it worked out though was that I got dirty air through the left-hander, and then he threw himself off the track to get out of the way. But I'd already lost a couple of tenths, and Vitaltas didn't lose those couple of tenths. And then I hesitated a little bit with a back marker that was doing exactly what it's supposed to do and let me through. But because I hesitated because I wasn't sure, that lost me another tenth, and that was all it took. But yeah, I don't think anyone did anything wrong. It was just one of those unfortunate things because the FXR is so much faster in those three corners that you need to build the gap before you even get there. So yeah, it just took that gap away from me. But yeah, no one did anything wrong. It's just one of those things. It's part of racing.
Very good. Just one question to end off for myself there, Isaac. Your qualifying lap, you saved it to the very last. You got the perfect run to knock the final 10th off Gabor. So what did you think of today's qualifying session?
I mean, getting pole was always important, but it definitely wasn't my best lap. I think the FZR was quite a lot faster in the quali. I think Eoin probably did the best lap of anyone in that quali, to be honest. But yeah, at the end of the day, all you can do is get the pole. So the quality of the lap doesn't really necessarily matter that much. But yeah, it wasn't my best lap by any means, but it got the job done.
It did indeed. Well, once again, congratulations on P2, and we look forward to seeing you again running closely, racing Vitaltas to the line in round 2 at Rockingham. Thank you for joining us in the box, and we'll see you next time, Isaac.
Thank you.
Oh, and who do we talk to next? We have Carlos Machiotis. We have Darius, I believe, was there first. Shall we talk to Darius Verzinskas?
Yeah, for sure. Let's have him in.
Darius Verzinskas, welcome to the commentary box. Can you hear us?
Hello, yes.
P8 for you. Pretty good performance. Everyone ahead of you, all very quick and very talented drivers. Talk us through your race. It looks like a pretty solid result. How do you feel about it?
Quite good. I think going higher, maybe P7 was max today. Bots just needed another sector to get him as he had problems with tires in the end. Early safety car didn't help us a lot because me and Vitaltas needed to save tires, and I have more problems on tires here. So last laps I was pushing and catching bots like almost 2 seconds a lap, just a bit not enough, so shame to that.
And I guess talk a little bit about the FXR. There's some complaints that the FZR might be a little bit OP, but obviously it worked well for Vitautas, and it's come off well for you too.
Yeah, quite good. Problem with Bass is last 2 rounds, but there were some adjustment done, so we will see how it will give some pace back to Bass last 2 rounds. First 2 rounds, Bass should be fine. After that, like round 3-4 should be XRR playground. First 2 rounds is like both FCR and Bass is quite fast.
Yeah, just a quick question from Eoin here. I suppose, yeah, there was disruptions with the various VSCs and the one safety car as well. So did you have a strategy in place where you would know what to do if there was a badly or well-timed safety car?
Pretty much, yes, because like first virtual safety car was just as I was on last sector, so I could beat, but no point because I needed like 30 laps to do a stint. So first virtual safety car was lap 8, 9, something like that, so I wouldn't made it. Safety car was just lap 11, 12, so both me and Vitautas was like, we need to risk it because it's longer than our maximum stint length, but nothing else to do because we will lose more going on the safety car without pitting. So at the end, for both of us, it would work out. I was like 2% to get a puncture, so like another lap and I was done.
Yeah, I was about to say that looking at your tires, they look more or less the same as Vitautas' tires, and he finished the race on the thinnest of margins. So hats off to you for a strategy call that just got you to the end.
Yes. Funny thing is that bots had the same strategy because pretty much. Early on he was pushing more, so he had like 6-second gap, but at the end he was saving a lot, so I did catch him. On outlap he had a puncture, so he timed it even more precisely than me.
Fair enough. Well done to you. Congratulations on P8, a strong finish in a strong field.
Thank you.
We look forward to seeing you for more action in a couple weeks. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Bye.
All right, we've got a few more people to talk to,
Yeah.
Eoin. I think our friend Carlos Machiotis is waiting patiently in the waiting room, so we'll bring him in and have a chat. Carlos, welcome to the commentary box. We're thrilled to talk to you. Perhaps you might want to talk less about your race and more about the racing around you. Not a result pretty well down the order, but it looked like you did get to experience plenty of action in racing.
I've got to experience plenty of defending, yeah. So I started way up above where I should be. So I don't know, at least 10 cars behind me were faster than me. So yeah, it was tough driving with so much traffic behind me. And yeah, I'm still getting used to defending from inside view without seeing the actual surroundings around me. So yeah, it was hard. It was really quite hard.
We've talked to a couple FXR drivers and an FZR driver. You are the first XRR driver that we have talked to. How do you rate it? Did it work pretty well? Do you feel like it's stronger, weaker than the other cars? How did you get on with it?
Oh, I don't think I'm the right person to ask that, considering my pace. But well, I don't know. I think it's fine considering the history and for how long it's been these restrictions. I think it's right where it should be, maybe.
Yeah, how do you think Rockingham will go for you, Carlos? Because it might be a track that could be tough on the XRR. Yeah, you have a good qualifying, so maybe you'll have to win on strategy again, perhaps.
Yeah, it's probably gonna be quite hard. I liked more fast corners, and this has less of those, more slow corners, so it's probably gonna be quite hard. We'll see.
And And I guess tell us what you look forward to about the rest of the season. There's so much action in this first race, and you were right there in the thick of it. We certainly expect more of the same. I assume you do as well.
Oh yeah, definitely. I also expect plenty of defending and possibly attacking. Hopefully attacking.
Yeah, can you come a little further up the grid, because I think today did not fully reflect your talent. I think you're a top 15, top 10 driver.
Definitely not top 10. If I were on the same pace but more consistent, I think I should have been able to go plus 2-3 positions, but not much else. The grid is really strong.
It is very strong indeed. Well, thank you very much for taking time to talk to us once again. I think you're one of our most popular commentary box guests, so thrilled to talk to you today. Looking forward to talking to you again at round 2, and we wish you luck on the next one.
Yeah, thanks. Bye-bye.
Oh, and we've got 2 more up there. Shall we talk to Elvis Levitas or Sean Lee?
Yeah, let's bring in Elvis first.
Elvis Levitas, welcome back to competition and welcome to the commentary box. Can you hear us?
Yes, indeed, I can hear you.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about your race. A few ups and downs, looked strong early on and then a penalty, but you recovered reasonably well. Talk us through your race.
Well, I would say that essentially doing my first race in such a long time, it was not easy. Only having 1 week to prepare, I mean, what else could go wrong? So I think overall, I did kind of good. That crash was my own fault, as I didn't really see him on the right side, but overall, really enjoyed the series.
Fantastic. That is great to hear. And also, though it wasn't an especially strong result, it is great. It certainly sounds. It's great to us that you had so much fun and you feel like you did well. As you said, after not having done any of these races for a long time and then getting thrown in with so much talent. So that's great, and we're glad to hear it.
Thank you.
Hi Elvis, this is Eoin here. It's nice to meet you for the first time.
Hello.
I suppose, my question would be, did you feel that there was any good battles you had? So I know there was a bit of tricky sort of problems for you previously, but is there any good battles that you had that you enjoyed?
I had quite a lot of fun with Sobis, even though we had a crash there. But it was fun. And I mean, I remember back then when I was doing this GT2 challenge in 2013-14, I could qualify in around top 5 for the most part, but now I feel old, I feel slow. It's hard to keep up, but I think with each week I will get back to it. Getting used to the game again, it's not that easy, so it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it definitely takes some practice, and I think the level of talent in Live for Speed has it's slowly risen over the years. So, but you sound confident. We believe you can get there, and we're thrilled you're having so much fun and came back to join us.
Yeah, thank you.
And thoughts looking forward to round 2?
I have never raced on that track, so I have zero. I have pretty much no expectations. Hopefully, I can just finish in one piece. That's the main goal.
Well, we hope so too, for your sake. Thanks very much for joining the series and for coming to talk to us in the commentary box. We wish you luck next time out.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. All right, we've got one more in the waiting room, Eoin. I will leave it to you to welcome in Sean Lee.
Hello, Sean. Welcome along. You've got a lot of talking points for that race. It was a thrill to watch you, to say the least. But how did you feel it went?
Yeah, good to be back after 2 years. Yeah, not a lot of practice in the race for me due to the mouse. It was not easy to go such a long stint. But yeah, it's a very nice combo, and I feel that the cars were pretty well matched this year. So went quite well at the start. Chose to start from the back because of the latency ping issues, and the start was chaotic, getting plenty of places there.
Yeah, without a doubt. It was a very clean start, I have to say. There weren't too many people getting involved in collisions. So yeah, I think if you had ping issues, it was right to start from the back. But your attacking early doors was absolutely fantastic. So yeah, you must have been really confident before that. I think it was the big safety car incident. You must have been absolutely delighted with yourself. You're looking really strong.
Yeah, the pace was good. I was on R3's, the harder tire, because I was afraid to puncture, which I think a few of them found out at the final lap of the race. Passing people at the start, they were quite spread out, so I had to find like different ways to pass people, and was quite fun. And then to the incident with your man, Kate, what's his name? How do you pronounce that name?
Zdenek.
Yeah. So basically, I was exiting the pits. I checked the map. There was a bunch of cars going past, and then I checked the mirrors, and he was not there. He was in the blind spot. So when I went over, I just clicked his rear tire.
Yeah, it was. Sean, we've always given you a hard time in the commentary booth, and you've always been a great sport about it. We welcomed you back to New Dimension Racing penalties with that one.
Yeah, I did give him the patient back because it was honestly my fault. I didn't see him. He was in the blind spot, the mirrors, and looking left, there was no car there. So yeah, just unfortunate that it happened to such a, I think, nice guy. He was pretty fair in the racing afterwards as well. So yeah, but moving on from that point on, after the penalty was a bit hard. The cars were pretty spread out. But if you look back on the final lap, I think you would find there were like cars going everywhere, like 2 or 3 cars puncturing their tires, going off everywhere.
Yeah, we noted early on in the race that you had gained so many positions, and were it not for that penalty, you were, I think, close to a top 10. Even so, you still recovered well to gain, I think it was 23 positions. So you have to be happy, even with the penalty and having to recover late. You have to be happy with that.
Yeah, for sure. The pace was good. The car felt really good with the setup, and the tires didn't suffer any issues, and was pacing pretty well. And listening to the lead battle at the front, looking at the map, or clustered up the 4 guys at the front. Yeah, wish I could be there, but not today. Was a bit far back, but we'll give it a shot the next time.
Yeah, so do you think by Rockingham you'll have your ping issue sorted, or how do you think it will go?
Oh, I asked a few guys. I think your Elmo. He told me it might not be able to be fixed, but we'll see. Rockingham is a nice place to drive. It has a good balance of slow speed corners, which I have no idea how I'm gonna go, because the previous time I went there, the setup was not good. So hoping to optimize for the next race.
All right.
Well, thank you very much for coming in to talk to us, Sean Lee. Welcome back. You've been away for a couple of years. Strong performance on your return. And we look forward to seeing you next time out, hopefully with a better result.
Okay, take care. See you.
Yep. Thank you, Sean. And we have one more person waiting in the commentary box, Cyril Bisset, who we talked to at the end of GT, or during the second round of GT4. Cyril, welcome in. You've done GT4. Now you've run a round of GT2. What do you make of it?
Well, to be honest, this weekend was a bit of a catastrophic one for me. I just barely made it, not through the pre-qualifying actually, but I got to race. I got in during the qualifying itself. To be frank, I had a little time to prepare for the race because I wasn't supposed to race initially. I just didn't have the pace in quali. So my setup was mostly wrong, I think. I didn't have the pace. I was a bit unstable through the S curves, and it just didn't work that well compared to GT4. And then my internet also died on me partway through the race, so that was another couple of laps I think I lost there. But overall, it's another experience. It was interesting. I need to work on my setup and racecraft for next weekend, in 2 weeks' time.
Yeah, certainly well worth noting, Sarah. But yeah, from the battles that you did have, I think you were probably able to keep up with 1 or 2 drivers. Yeah, do you think the high quality that you saw will put you in good stead for next time?
I'll try to see. I wasn't really used to this track. I hope Rockingham will be better suited to me, but definitely the people taking part here are of a higher level in general than it was in GT4. I just don't have the pace for for this series. I don't know. I will have to work on it for the next round.
Sure, even myself, I entered in 2021. I usually qualify towards the back if I wasn't knocked out in pre-qualifying. So yeah, it is a series where you can get involved if you put in the effort. So I wouldn't be too discouraged just yet.
Yeah, I did actually hear about that when you talked about it at the beginning of the stream, and that's about when I was told I could actually take part in the race in the quali.
Right,
So that's why I also didn't have quite the time I would have wanted to have to prepare. So we'll see what happens in 2 weeks' time.
Yeah, tell us about the.
No, so I was just going to say, yeah, turnout can be a big like spike in the first round, and then it filters down a bit. So, yeah, you could get in through pre-qualifying legitimately. So, yeah, plenty to look forward to.
I will definitely try to get through pre-qualifying this time.
Yeah, consistency is key. I mean, you will make points simply by participating, and then putting in the time to build the pace. You can get good results. Have you done any laps around Rockingham yet? How do you feel looking forward to next week or 2 weeks?
I haven't done that yet with the XRR. I will have to try that starting this week, I guess, just to familiarize with how the car feels, and I definitely need to work on my setup.
Yes, indeed. Well, thank you very much for joining us in the commentary box, and we look forward to seeing you in a couple weeks.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, merci et bonne chance. Thank you very much. That was Cyril Bisset, and I think that does it for us, Eoin. We've had a lot of people to talk to. Great insights in the interview room after the race. Fantastic racing. Round out your thoughts on the first of 4 in the 2024 GT2 Challenge season.
It was exquisite to say the least. We got a top tier qualifying. The NDR, of course, organized this as always. They put in an excellent performance as usual. Good calls with each of the yellow flag periods. I think they were all the appropriate measures, and the driving standards are all really, really good. And of course, a lot of fun when the drivers did get door to door. And of course, one of the all-time great endings, of course, 4 drivers in contention and a lead change that caught, I suppose, a lot of us by surprise. And so I love that, and I'm glad to have been the spectator this time in the commentary box. It would have been a very tough race to be in.
I could not have put it better myself, and it was. I will echo your sentiments. It was a thrill to call this, and a pleasure to call this race with you. We have a couple announcements before we sign off. First one is that tomorrow will be the second round of the ZFRL All-Rounder Championship. That will be Fox at Blackwood GP Circuit. So if you're interested in that, you can find information about it on the forum. You will see that here on simbroadcast.tv tomorrow afternoon. And then in 2 weeks' time, we will have the second round of the 2024 GT2 Challenge season. For everyone here at Sim Broadcast, myself, Eoin, Pete, Mo in the background, we want to thank the NDR team for putting on such a great series, excellent officiating, all of the work they put into organizing this, all our drivers who participated, especially those drivers who came in to talk with us at the end of the broadcast. We really appreciate you all putting on such a great show for us to bring to all of our viewers. We could not do this without your patronage, so we thank you very much for tuning in today. From all of us here at Sim Broadcast, we wish you a great evening, a great morning, a great whatever part of the day is where you happen to be. Be safe, be well. Thank you very much, and we will see you next time. Thank you, and goodbye.